Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another fantastic night of Sci-Fi-Vision presents Fandom Access. We have Resident Alien, SurrealEstate, The Walking Dead, Dead City, and Murderbot. Murderbot was fucking weird.
That's the
and,
point. That's the point, right?
And creepy.
And creepy. Because Labibi, the new character, is creepy.
Yeah, she's very creepy.
Yeah, she's creepy.
Talking about it.
As soon as Jamie gets here in a second, I think she should be on her way. I think. You want me to send her a text?
If she doesn't know what time we do our show by now, I don't know.
We've been doing this show for like 15 years.
Oh, hold on. She's running a couple minutes late, and she sent that 2 minutes ago.
Okay, so
Justin thinks the new girl's gonna die.
Justin thinks the new girl's gonna die because we're overdue for a character death. Can't really disagree with that, right? So you know that Murderbot is based on a series of books. I have not read the books. I did.
Is it? I didn't know that.
They're called the Murderbot Diaries, and there are 3 books that I think are pretty similar. It's based on that. It's been pretty close till now. I haven't read them, but I read on the internet this week that the new character Labibi is not in the books. She is the first completely new character that's introduced. So nobody knows what's going to happen with her, which is kind of good, right? We have watched a number of shows that are based on books over the years, and sometimes they add a new character, and it really can be really good, and it can help keep, I think, book readers, give them a little surprise. Like, if you've read books, do you really want it to be exactly like it was in the book? I don't know. Maybe
perfect example. Look at The Walking Dead. The Dixon brothers were not in the comic.
No, and they were a fantastic addition.
And they were essentially the best characters on the show for a while. So.
And Daryl has become arguably the most popular character and got his own spinoff. Justin thinks that all DC and Marvel movies are spoiled if you read the comic books. I don't
know if I agree with that.
No?
I mean, us comic readers, we have a pretty good idea where things are going. But they have changed things up so much because they're not going strictly from the comics. They're going based off the comics. Like it's the whole multiverse thing, like the movies is its own multiverse. It's like the comics. I don't like the fact they call the movie 616 because the comics are 616, but it's still separate from what they do. Like, they haven't done it exactly like they do in the comics. Many things have been very different.
Yeah. And we like what they did with the Vampire Diaries, and so there aren't really
You mean Interview with the Vampire?
Not the Vampire Diaries. Interview with the Vampire, which they by updating the timeline really was the major difference there. That worked so well.
I'm still. I don't hate Interview, but I've still got issues with the whole updated timeline. But I have to see how it plays out.
I'm talking about season 1 moving it from having a slavery period to the 19 teens.
Yeah, I got you. Yes, that worked, and I understand why they did that.
Yeah, and other things that we've watched that have veered from the books. Now Game of Thrones. I'm so overshadowed by the ending that it's hard for me to remember the ways that it veered, where it veered from the books was good. But anyway, that does kind of work. So I say let's just jump into this. We gave Jamie 4 minutes, so let's just jump into Murderbot this episode, right? We have the new character. So, God, I love Jamie showing her little photos and taking us through a recap. But as they're trying to figure out what happened at Deltfall, I think is the name of the base that was attacked, right? Deltfall's sec unit. They're trying to figure out
more than I do.
Yeah, they're called Deltfall. I forget what it's short for, but Deltfall is the name of that group and their base over there. And the course of trying to figure out what happened with their sec unit, why the sec unit's attacked, and in the beginning, there's the part where they have to remove the implant that was put into Sec unit. Seki. They started calling him Seki in this episode.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised that they resolved that so quickly. And then I remembered this show is like sometimes less than 30 minutes. It's about a 30-minute comedy. So the action does have to move pretty quickly. But in the course of that, they discover there's a survivor, Libibi.
Look creepy.
She is creepy, and her introduction was hilarious. Like this show, I'm not the big comedy fan among the three of us, and I don't always respond to like the comedy, but like she's hilarious. The way they react to her is hilarious. Like when she's like, "Oh, my name is Labibi," and I think it's Mensa says, "Oh, what a beautiful name." Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Hi. Sorry about that. I'm here finally.
Well, welcome. We were just getting started on Murderbot because we didn't want to.
All right. Well,
and we were waiting.
Everybody's heard me talk about Murderbot already.
We were waiting for you because we thought it'd be really funny if you joined us in Walker makeup like Carol.
Yeah, no. Sorry, no.
But that's why you were late. You were doing your makeup.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I was actually trying to get the dang program to work so I could get our pictures up.
That's okay. We were just starting to recap Murderbot a little bit.
Yeah. So speaking of the new character, yeah, she's what I was referring to as the creepiness of the episode, because she's like, you could tell she's been thinking about this for a while about the bots genitalia and what they could do with it. And I love the look on his face because he's just like it's all in his eyes. He's like, what the hell? And then when she kissed him and he was like, please melt me down now.
And he doesn't, he's tall and she's trying to like kiss his chin and she can't. Yeah. That was kind of great. I really look, I appreciate that someone acknowledged that this robot, looks like William Skarsgård, right?
Yes.
Like he's like an incredibly handsome William. Is that the Skarsgård that's in it, right? Alexander's in it. Sorry, I can't tell my Skarsgårds apart. But he's super hot. Like they made a really hot android. And okay, that's not his hottest picture ever. But
there we go.
Like, yeah, I appreciate the acknowledgement that he's a hot robot.
That's a little bit better picture for that.
There, yeah. So you want to recap it with us, Jamie, quickly? Since you're all sick?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is that they brought him in, no matter how many times he's saying in his head, this is a bad idea, they can't hear him. Because we know after last week that he has been they've taken control over him with the
implant
combat module, yeah. And they bring him in anyway. And then the other thing is while they're dragging him in, they see, I have a picture, there's those cool plants, a picture of Labibi here somewhere that they almost shoot. There's the BB. What a crazy name. But yeah, they bring him in and because he's out of commission and they think that they can fix him and that he won't attack them. And they really have no idea. I was going to ask you guys, do you think I thought it was funny that like before when he was hurt, half of his torso is missing. And this time he shoots himself like point blank and he's got like a little, I mean, it was bad. It was still in his chest, but I just thought it was funny. Like he wasn't destroyed. Like,
yeah, it was a small wound.
Kind of this little hole in his chest.
Yeah. So, I haven't always like, when we talked about episodes 1 and 2, I was like, you guys, this is a comedy. And like, I don't get it. And you're like, yes, Karen, it's a comedy. And it took me a while, but I really am growing to appreciate the humor of these space hippies, as people keep calling them, and how totally incompetent they are and how they, they make a lot of bad decisions. Sec unit's always making, he's got a lot of disdain for them. And yet I'm starting to really appreciate the humor in these people. But I'm starting to kind of like them, right? Like they're really nice people. They're totally inept and they would be dead without him, but they're kind of nice, right?
Yeah. And you were talking about, I know I came in when you were talking about Labibi's conversation about his possible attachment. We talked about that. I was saying, what I think was the funniest part of that conversation, and I don't know why, but it struck me as more funny, is the fact that she talks about it like she doesn't want to talk about it. She's like, it's pee-pee. Like she doesn't even want to say it, but she's talking about it. So it's funny.
But then she goes on to talk about if it, can like grow to any size and any shape and like be from across the room and like, but she doesn't want to. But she says pee-pee instead of penis.
She calls it a pee-pee. She calls it a pee-pee, but like she says like touch the balls and it will vibrate and then it can go.
It goes into great detail after that.
Yeah, she calls it pee-pee. But then and as AJ was saying before you, or maybe just as you joined, Jamie, AJ suggested it's clear that she's thought about this before. Like she has thought about robot sex before, right?
Yeah.
This is not new for her.
This is where I've said before, I have to think that probably all the robots are made together, and that because otherwise you wonder why like the soldier would have a face. I think they probably just make them all together and then they choose this one goes here and this one goes there. And so they ended up with a fucking security guard though. I
wouldn't be surprised if they all have his face.
They showed at the beginning of the season they didn't. They made a comment about faces.
Did they? I don't remember that.
Yeah, because they asked why they all had different faces, and they flippantly said something like so they could find them if they escaped or something like that.
Yeah.
Tell them apart.
Makes them easier to keep track of and track down if they escape was the reason they gave earlier.
So I just assumed they're all different, and then they just assigned them after. Maybe I don't know, because otherwise you would wonder why they would bother giving him a face if they never intended to use it.
Either they're all different, or maybe there's a certain number of options, right? We've seen that on some shows before.
That could be too. Yeah, that could be too.
Yeah. So Labibi, so Jamie, before you joined, I mentioned that I've not read the books, but I read on the internet this week that Labibi is not in the books. She's the first totally new character that's on the show.
Oh, okay.
And so nobody really knows what's going to happen with her. We think, AJ and I think, and probably you, Jamie, probably everybody agrees that she's not just an innocent survivor, right? I was wondering, like, at first I was like, could she be a security unit? Like, could she be
or is she even from, I kind of wonder if she's even from that place, or if she's maybe one of the ones that was involved in attacking it, because she acts so stupid, like she doesn't know what's going on, but yet somehow she survived this attack, which doesn't make sense. And then also, I think that she was acting very suspicious, and she was gathering information, like she was flirting with Grathan at one point, and obviously he didn't. I think he didn't realize she was flirting with them, or he was just not having it. But she, to me, looked like she was trying to look at the computer screen, like she's trying to find out what's going on. And I don't know. I found her very suspicious.
The only thing is that every human we've met on the show is totally stupid, right? Like they're all pretty dumb. We have yet to meet one that seems like competent and dangerous. But I assume right now that there's more to her. Is she a spy for the corporation? Is she really a survivor of Deltfall, or is she one of the attackers of Deltfall, or is she something else?
Yeah,
but
I do not know.
Yeah, and yet going off on the robot PP doesn't seem like the greatest move of like an undercover operative, right?
No, it does not. It does not. Well, she makes a point of saying that like she's an indentured servant and all this, and that she's so we don't really know if anything she says is true. But we also have this conversation.
Check out Justin. Every TV character is stupid. If TV characters were smart and rational, you three would be out of jobs. He's right.
No, that's not true. Because if they were smart and rational, we would praise them instead of talk about. We just find different ways to talk about them. That's all.
Yeah, but we'd run out of stuff to talk about a lot quicker, I think.
That's not necessarily a bad thing.
I know.
How long it takes us for some of these shows.
Well, tonight we were going to cover 4 shows, and we're not going to talk about anybody smart and rational this entire night.
Okay, that's true.
That's very true.
Yeah.
The people in SurrealEstate are, I guess they're not rational. I don't know that they're not smart, but they're not always rational, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, I did want to have a conversation about Ratty and Pinley here. This conversation was just so bizarre. And he's like, we should have a kid and name it after Sec Unit. Like, and they're like, what? When did we talk about having a kid? And it goes back, it makes me think of the conversation last week when they were saying that like if he died, they wouldn't have to finish their contract. Not that they wanted him to die, of course. They made a point of saying that, but yeah, Pinwin is like, what are you talking about?
By the way, I like this shot because it shows all those little computer screens there, and I do like the aesthetic they've created, the way what the hopper looks like, what the computers look like.
The aesthetic of the show.
And it's funny because it's set in the future, and like sometimes I get a little bit of a mid-century modern kind of vibe, maybe because of the colors they choose.
Kind of, yeah. But they look like, I don't know, to me they look like iPads that are like just all set up, lined up.
They do. It looks like 4 iPads sitting up there.
The other thing
it might just be.
Yeah, it might be 4. You're right. It might be.
Probably is. Probably the cheapest way to do it. I just wanted to mention though, because I as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing the little Murderbot icon there on the chair. Because I was questioning last night, do all the security guards have the same design? Because even Labibi's clothes, and she came directly from wherever she came from, has the same pattern on it of the little Murderbot icon, which I find is interesting. I thought like it was unique to him and it was like hidden around the show, but since she has it too, I kind of thought it must just be like,
I mean, that might be just the corporation.
Unit. The corporation unit, sec unit icon, something that's to all of them. But yeah, so they're waiting for him to get better. Wait, she used, I thought I had a picture somewhere where she uses that glove thing. There it is. She's using that to pull the.
Oh, I forgot her name. I forgot that character's name.
Barkswatch. I probably don't say it right, but Barkswatch, something like that. Which I don't know. That made me think of the glove that the doctor had. That's all I kept thinking through this whole scene. But the only people that are actually saying this is a bad idea is Garathan and Labibi. Obviously, she doesn't know anything, but he's like, this is not smart. He's the only one that's cautious, obviously. But
I'm not really sure if I think Garathan is smarter. I mean, he's definitely more suspicious, and he's never like sec unit. And I'm not really sure why, given that he's an augmented human. Like, there's a part of like a rivalry, like a jealousy, that sec unit is just faster at calculation, right? Like his Garathan's implants are still don't bring him to the level of sec unit in terms of his ability to process information or whatever, right?
That's true too. But he's also just not a very social person. I don't know, but yes, he does seem to not like him at all. And whenever he's intending to I got to shut my I have my windows open. I can't see. I'm trying to shut my Photoshop down. I didn't realize I had it open. And I'm like, what is all this stuff around here? When Garathan starts to connect, sec unit, I don't have the notes up, but he says something like, he just starts swearing and saying like that this is bad, because I think he has a feeling that he's going to be poking around in there and finding out things, and it's not going to go right. Which is what he finds out. He finds out that the government module chip is off, and when they're all talking, I like how Garathan says to Barkswatch, he's like, you know what? He freezes him so he can't move, and he says that he turned the chip off, and he's like, she agrees with me. And she's like, no, I agree he turned it off. I don't agree he's dangerous. So she didn't even stick up for him.
I like when he first walks in, when Garathan first walks in and Murderbot's like, uh-oh. And the more he says, he goes, uh-oh. Oh shit, this isn't working.
Because he knows Garathan is like suspicious and might have the ability to learn his secret.
I like when they test him with the soap opera.
But she says he's not dangerous, and that's where she's like, tell us how he spends his time, and he tells them about the soap opera that he watches it, and they're like, he doesn't even think he watches that much. And then they start rattling off things on the show that he is completely
it turns out that they're all fans of the show, right? And not all of them, some of them are like, oh, remember this?
So I mean, I get their point of view. Like, I get both their points of view. He's being cautious, but at the same time, she's like, what she's saying makes total sense to everybody. Like, he's been in control the whole time, and he hasn't done anything. He's protected us when he didn't have to. So why would he suddenly be trying to kill us now? It doesn't make sense.
Right.
But they do have him frozen. I did want to ask your opinion on this, though, because this seemed to be something that Scarlett and I sort of differed in our opinion on this. whenever he after grabs him and starts choking him, do you think it was supposed to be that it was wearing off? Because he says it's not working. I thought, or he said it wouldn't work. I thought actually he was never frozen, that he was just pretending at first to be not able to move because they said he was immobile. And then after he's like, nope, see, I can choke you anyway, but I kind of to prove a point. I don't know. It was a little vague. What did you think about that scene, you guys?
I thought it was wearing off.
Okay.
I thought that they maybe never had him immobilized and he was just going along with that. Like they thought they had him immobilized. Maybe they really didn't. And he never was immobilized. He just was waiting for his moment to stand up.
I guess 2-2. Scarlett agrees with AJ, and I agree with you.
Yeah,
no, that was immediately what I thought was what you
But
said.
to Scarlett
Either way,
point, there were effects that were wearing off. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Either way, he proves his point.
Yeah, he's like, I don't like you. I can choke you if I want to. And then she's like, please don't, basically. She calms him down and stops. And they also make a point, too, of saying, this is what we wanted. What we didn't like about this whole experience was that he was being controlled. And now we have that. So, like, you have to.
Well, that he was being controlled. They knew that he was a robot.
Right. But the part that they didn't agree with was the fact that the corporation and even them had full control over him. And now suddenly they're like, well, they haven't this whole time. So that's why she's like, we want you to stay, but it's your choice. And, he says in his mind that she's saying what she has to and he's saying what he has to. But I mean, it's clear that he's chosen their safety, whether he admits it to himself or not. He's chosen to do what he, is supposed to be doing. And he maybe doesn't quite understand why, because he doesn't like being around these, or at least he thinks he doesn't like being around these people. He is uncomfortable being around people. So,
he chose to go along with the job because if he kills them, the corporation will come after him, right?
Yes,
and he's waiting for his moment to escape somehow, right? He's like, let me keep up the ruse until I figure this out, was his original plan.
Yes, originally. Right. But he clearly, when he was at the Deltfall, lied to them, said everything was fine, told them to leave and not to come back for him. And I mean, that was purely to try to protect them. And then he was shocked.
Is it? Don't you think that his programming could be part of his motivation? Like his programming is part of him. It's like at the core, who he is was designed to protect them. And so is it 100% choice or is it his nature? Like, I don't really know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's kind of the whole point, is that part of his programming is gone. And that he made the choice himself. That's how I took it.
Part of his programming's not gone. His governor module, but
forces him to make that choice. I guess that's true. I hadn't really thought about it.
I think it's too early in the show to say that he is making he likes them, he protects them, he's chosen it. I get the part where you say whether he knows it or not. So that part is still like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that he, even like when he shot himself to protect them, I think that he does want to protect them. I think he doesn't understand why he wants to protect them. And I think
because he's programmed to protect them.
Right. Well, but I think some of it, he just doesn't understand it because he's not human. And I think he really does like these people. He just doesn't know how to.
He turned off the safety protocols to stop, he essentially has free will, but like Karen is saying, he still has programming.
He just doesn't have to follow it.
But maybe he kind of does, right? Like maybe that.
So yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes, he was programmed, so that's all he knows. But at the same time, he's making a choice to follow that, I guess, and doesn't understand why he's doing it. I don't know. I think some of it is himself doing it.
But I think that's why he doesn't understand it, because he's programmed it.
Yeah,
because he has such disdain for them, but he continues to take care of them.
Right, and I think there's a part of him that does like them. He just doesn't.
Well, I don't know that
human. He doesn't understand his emotions.
I don't think he likes them, but I think he hates them a lot less than he did 5 episodes ago. Right? That's still has great disdain and disrespect for them, but he's starting to understand them better. And like, does he like them? Maybe he's starting to like them.
I don't know. Like's a little bit strong word. He feels. I don't know, some kind of connection with him, even if he doesn't quite know what it means, is how I look at it.
I mean,
Especially
this show,
Mensa, I think.
at its heart, this show is the same as every single robot show. At its heart, the message is like, what does it mean to be human? Right? And I think, so we can, when I talk about his programming, he's programmed to protect them, and maybe he can't, just because he doesn't have a governing module doesn't mean he can overcome his programming, right? Which in the same sense, like we talk about human characters who, you are who you are at the core, and you can't maybe always overrule that. Like we have characters who will like always try to save someone, even though they're probably going to die, because that's who they are at their core, right? And is that the same as programming? I don't know. Like maybe that's where we're going with this. Like we all have kind of core programming, maybe, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, I don't know. But I don't think he likes them. But I think he's on the road.
I said likes a little bit of a strong word. He
still hates all humans, and maybe he should. These people are not a good example. These people are stupid, and they do not act in their best interests ever, right?
Yeah.
They make terrible decisions from his point of view.
Yeah. Well, either way, she tells him he can stay or go, but right now they
where's he gonna go? Where's he gonna go? Of course he has.
No, I know, but I think she says something like, "Oh, I know what she says." She says that after they're done, she says that he can leave, and they won't tell anybody that he overrode his programming. Is what she says.
Oh, right.
So
and he says,
like,
okay.
Once they get off the planet, he has
an
option.
Can
leave and try to get away if he wants to, but whether he does is to be seen. But they decide that they're going to set off the beacon finally, which we do find out will take 5 days for anybody to even answer, which I got to question the science behind this. I don't know if they just didn't, research this or expect people to not think about it. But what they actually say is that they're going to send an EMP pulse through a wormhole. I don't understand how sending an EMP pulse is sending like a signal or a warning, because if you send an EMP pulse, it would knock their power out. Like that to me makes absolutely no sense the way they explain it. But that's what they say they're doing when they're going to set off the beacon, but they have to do it manually because it's having issues as usual.
Yeah, I didn't catch that with the EMP, but I think this show is not striving for scientific rigor.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
But they're going to go, he's going to go with Mensa, and they're going to do it manually so they can try to get help, even if it'll take a while. I did want to also ask you guys about this conversation. Wait, well, first we have the almost when you which is hilarious and creepy and uncomfortable and just great. I love it.
It was so cringy, right? Like,
look at and that's gotta be hard as an actor to just stand there.
I was just gonna say, I want to know how many takes this shot took, because I guarantee it. Either one or both of them at different times were cracking the fuck up. I guarantee.
I'm sure they were. Yeah,
I do think. Yeah, I think Skarsgård is really like when the acting is pretty good in this show, and he's doing great like eye acting. Like, how he's a robot and he always has to just have like a straight face. But sometimes when we hear his inner monologue and he's like, you just see like maybe his eyebrow twitches a little bit, or his eye just moves like a millimeter to the side, and like I think his face acting and his eye, so subtle and so awesome.
It is, but in this scene, he's like completely staying still and not even moving, which makes it even more weird and more.
I know, but look at his eyes. Doesn't he look kind of like tired?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do to get her away from me? Face.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then she like tries to kiss him, and it's hilarious. It's so uncomfortable.
So the other thing is that Garathan and Mensa are talking. He's worried, that she won't be safe or whatever. So he was going to say something to her here, whenever Sec Unit Garathan was going to say something to Mensa whenever Sec Unit interrupted and was like, we got to go all of a sudden. I don't know. What do you think about, because clearly he's still crushing on her. And I don't know if she is not aware or she's ignoring it, or because I'm curious what he intended to say to her before, if he would have had time. Because he tried to say something to her. But yeah, I don't know. I don't find, like, at the beginning of the season, it was creepy, but I don't really find it creepy now. but
He
I don't
sneaked her
know.
pillow. That was
He's
super
creepy
creepy.
to
Yeah,
begin with.
that was creepy. But I mean, now, like in this episode, he's not being creepy. He just likes her, but she just sort of, I don't know, she doesn't
I
pay
mean,
attention to that. Like she ignores it, and I don't know if she's ignoring it on purpose or she's just not aware of it.
I think the key characteristic of all these people is how oblivious they are. I think she doesn't know. I think like it's maybe one of her weaknesses as a leader to not see this coming from one of her direct reports. She does have some strengths as a leader, I think, that are
Yeah,
coming
but
out
it's
a little
very
more.
inappropriate that he is thinking about her too because she is his leader. Like, because he seems like maybe he's going to tell her.
Yeah,
but we
because
don't really
that's
know.
never happened before where
Yeah,
people.
that's never happened on television before. What are you talking about?
But I think she's not picked up on it. I think she, they're such idealists, these people, and they're so oblivious and so out of their depth. And she has other stuff on her mind. But they've all worked together before. Like she should have. Yeah, I don't know. Should she see it? Should she not? I don't know. But I think she doesn't see it.
Okay, that's what I wondered. I would just wanted his opinion.
I think he's going to turn definitely against Seki, and maybe against all of them before this is over.
Potentially. Well, how do you like that they called him Seki? I like he's like Seki. Like, where did that come from? Also, they called him Gura or Gura. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but like they gave him a nickname too in this one. Or at least the captions did. I didn't like actually hear it, but I assumed that they said it because it was in the caption. So back on the ship, this is where Labibi was flirting with him, and he's oblivious to her clearly. But I think she was just trying to get information when she was like, "Can I do this for you? Can I do that for you?" But she seemed to me like, see, like right there, like she was trying to look at what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the number of movies where a girl and a guy had zero relationship issues. Yeah, that would be there are none.
Yeah.
You are correct. So then they are going to SecUnit and Mensa are going to turn on the beacon, and this is where she's talking about her family, and he's like really annoyed. And it's like, I didn't ask. And she's going on. And then all of a sudden he's like, just stop, and tells her that, to turn around right away because he sees that something's wrong. And with the beacon, because he can't connect to it. And then that's when it blows up, which I don't think that, I mean, obviously SecUnit is alive, but I don't think she's dead either. I don't think that that's the intent, but they did kind of leave it on a cliffhanger there.
I mean, it's only episode 5 of 10, so
yeah, it's halfway through.
Early for a major death.
So I had a thought, aside from being uber creepy, it wasn't until she started flirting with what's his face there that I started to think that maybe she's actually up to something.
With Garathan, yeah.
Yeah, when she started flirting with Garathan, I was like, either she's really hard up or she's up to something. And then I started thinking, oh, I wonder if she's the one that was controlling the SecUnits in her place, and she's the one behind everything with the, killing everybody.
Yeah.
Kind of impressive that the chick that fantasizes about sex with robots is the one that survived.
Yeah.
Unless it's a cover.
And then she flirts with Garathan. She seems to have only one arrow in her quiver. If she's a spy or some sort of, I mean, so with the explosion of the beacon, I mean, she could be behind that, right? Somebody doesn't want them to get a message out. Somebody wants that. Like, there's something going on this planet that Deltfall has been wiped out. And because they were close to figuring something out, they were going to make a discovery. And now our team, somebody doesn't want them to get off the planet either. If we know sci-fi, it's maybe the corporation, but there's something on this planet.
The other thing I wanted to mention, sorry, I'm looking at that. That I skipped by accident is the conversation they have here that I think is important is that they're saying, as they're talking about what happened to Deltfall, and she's saying is it possible that there's a third party that was there that attacked them? And why would, if there was, why would they let them in? And he makes this comment where he says, well, if it were you, you would. That they could have pretended to be you and said they had a problem so that they would come in, let them in to help them. And the thing is that he's saying this and they're talking about humans being naive, but they've done just that. Because they let her in. I mean, that's exactly what they've done. And I think, it's kind of pointing that out, but they don't even seem to notice that. So yeah, it's showing that humans in general are pretty naive, but they're supposed to be good people. That's why they would do that. But at the same time, they need to maybe think.
These humans, I'm not sure that all the humans that we have,
no, not all the humans in the universe. In this show, the humans.
We'd let you in. Somebody knocks on the door and you let them in because of but you're right. That's what they did. Labibi's like, I survived. I was attacked. And they don't really question her or anything. They just take her at her word. But these are a particularly naive group of people, right? I think that when they met with the corporation and asked to rent a sec unit, I don't think those people would open the door for just anyone who knocked, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. But these people for sure, yeah.
Yeah, but they proved. They did prove his point in this episode, and that they did the same thing. And then it's probably. I think
you have a good point, Jamie. That he says well, that's what you would do. But I think you have a good point that doesn't say that's what you did do, right? Yeah. He doesn't Seki doesn't say oh, you let Labibi in. Is he also blind to that danger, or does he just not care?
I don't know. Maybe, unless it's supposed to be that he's thinking.
I don't think
him. I don't know. That's a good question.
I don't think he sees BB as a threat.
Yeah,
which means he's naive too at the same time, because really he's a security unit. That should be his first thought: can we trust her? And he doesn't think about that. So yeah. He's getting a little sloppy there potentially too. If she's bad, we don't know. We have to wait and see. But anyway, it blows up and we're left to wonder what happened, I guess. I don't think, like you said, it's kind of early. Granted, there's only 10 episodes.
I'll find out in a couple
halfway
days.
through, but I still don't think that they're going to kill anybody yet. I do wish these episodes were longer, though. I don't think they're long enough for us to get enough backstory on each of the people and just to get enough about each person and get to know them a little bit better. I'd like more.
Honestly, if they were longer, I think I might like it less.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah. I barely am starting to like it now. I think the book is pretty slim, and I think
it's a novella.
Yeah, and I think there's not and it's pretty tight, and there's not a ton there, and they're working with the source material. If they made them longer, they might have to be adding a lot of filler. Right. And
this isn't it is good that it isn't like a deep commitment to it. It's a quick, still funny. It's not silly, but
it's meant to be a comedy, right? And so 30 minutes works for a comedy. I keep mistaking this for a sci-fi epic, and it's a comedy.
Yeah, it is a comedy. I told you it's a comedy.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're at least starting to like it a little bit better.
It's really well reviewed, and it was even before it premiered. This is really well received by critics, and I think I'm just not I'm never going to be like you guys. I love this comedy unless it's like a 20-year-old episode of Seinfeld. It's just not going to be my genre ever. But I'm starting to warm up to the people who are in the show.
Yeah, and it's got. It's Apple. It's got really good production value. Like you said, it looks really good. I don't know. Just I would personally like to know more about them, but maybe I need to go read the novella. And
the thing about Apple is nobody's going to see it. Apple is probably I don't know streaming numbers, but I know among the people I know, Apple is the least common streaming service among people I know, and it is the least. So Succession was huge, and that. What is that called? Ted Lasso was kind of huge, right? But in general, I feel like Apple shows maybe don't break through the way Netflix shows do. So we'll see if people are watching it.
Yeah, but I think they put a good bit of money into it. At least they look like they did. But
Mhm.
we don't even know. I guess we'll find out soon if there's a season 2. We don't know yet. But there's definitely the content for it in the book, in the novellas, if they decide to bring it back.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that's it. Unless you have more to add. I don't want to cut you
Nope.
off.
We're good.
No,
All right. So which show do we want to do next? We want to do Dead City, SurrealEstate, Resident Alien. Which do you want to talk about first? An Alien, because AJ watched it.
Sure, AJ.
I don't care.
Do you want
we could do. I mean, we kind of flipped the script this week because Jamie was late, and we just started talking about Murderbot. So we could do Resident Alien last.
We have Murderbot, Resident
And then
Alien,
Murderbot first.
City. Let's do SurrealEstate because it was the season finale.
All right, sounds like a
And
plan.
get that out of the way, and then we'll come back.
Wait a second. I highlighted the wrong episode. Hold on. I didn't realize I did until now.
That's okay. I'm
gonna do the right one. There we go. Okay, that's the right one. All right. So, whoa, that was not what I meant to do. I meant to hit favorites. There we go. All right. So we get this flashback. I loved your comment when you texted me and you're like, they picked this kid. He's got his hair.
Right? That kid has a head of hair.
Yeah, Luke's hair. Yeah, no, that he does make a good little Luke. But I did like that we finally got a flashback seeing about the elephant and what Elvis did and everything, and a little bit more about how he sort of terrorized this kid and told him. I was like really surprised when he I don't have pictures of him in the bedroom, but whenever he told him to go beat up his father, and Luke acts like he's going to, brings in the baseball bat, and I'm like, there's no way he's going to hit him. But I didn't expect him to turn around and whack Elvis. So I kind of like the way they did that. But yeah, his father and him take him to the there's his dad there, take him to the lake, or I guess it was a lake, and in the chain box, and throw him in the water so he can't escape. And that was kind of how the beginning of the season started, was the somebody finding the box. So I am a little surprised though that Luke didn't remember a lot of this. I would think that he was old enough that if something like this happened, I would think would be a little traumatic. I'm a little surprised that it took him so long to remember it, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. What do you think?
Sorry, I was muted. There was a noisy car outside my window. Yeah, so at first I felt like, sorry, I'm walking around my house. At first I felt like he was not the most, Tyler is such a bad guy, and I felt like Elvis was not really made to be the most scary of like childhood frightening monsters that we've seen. But then when he does try to get him to I
think it was more. I mean, I know. Yes, you're right. That's okay, Muncher. Thank you for coming. Yes, this one's at 10. Karen and AJ go to bed earlier. No, I'm kidding.
We started the show at 10 for like 15 years.
Yes. This one is always at 10. It's just Scarlett and I tend to, and Lori tend to do later on our shows. But you missed Murderbot, which you saw. Let's talk about Murderbot yesterday, so you didn't really miss that much. But and for anybody else, by the way, who hears me saying that, if you do want to hear Scarlett and I break down the episode a little bit deeper, if you look at yesterday's live stream, we did a recap and kind of went through the episode a bit more for Murderbot. But yeah, I feel like I agree what you're saying. They didn't show him doing anything super bad, but I feel like the part of him that was evil and what he did was more that he sort of terrorized this kid by trying to control him. So I don't know, to me, I felt it even though I didn't see it, especially because he did it to a kid. So I got it more from the conversations between Luke and his mother. And I don't know. I didn't really feel like I needed it. Sorry, Mike. As I keep saying every episode, my allergies are so freaking bad and I can't breathe.
I guess oh my God, my headband is killing my head. Sorry.
We're just all having issues. It's okay.
If you ever have a headband on and your hair starts to hurt. But see, my hair looks so bad on this. I think for me, maybe what was missing is that Tyler was a bad guy, and we knew he was Elvis, but I guess the entirety of what he did to Luke was packed into the beginning of this episode, right? And I guess
I would have liked to have seen it earlier in the season.
Yeah, like they tried to, like, I had only like the cold open to really like understand, and I still don't really understand like what is Tyler or whatever his name was. I forget his true name, but what is this demon's like real goal? I guess other than to be mean and terrorize a kid, right? But like,
yeah, I hadn't thought about it, but you're right. I don't think they ever explained really what his goal was, other than to hop into Luke, but we don't know why.
Yeah. So like the way he terrorized Luke is terrible, yes, but it was all packed into like these first 5 minutes, and I guess maybe I like we saw so much of Tyler, and maybe just me as a viewer could have benefited from learning a little sooner.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And just like he put his mother in the hospital, we find out a little bit later, and like he didn't hurt his mother. He just scared her, I guess, to scare Luke was kind of the whole point of that, which was a little surprising. Not that I wanted anything to happen to his mother, but
to me, that makes no sense and really didn't have to happen. And the episode could have been the same without that. But I want to come back to that later about why I think she was in this episode or these last two. Well, I'll tell you now, I think this felt like a series finale. And I agree.
I mean, I hope it's not, but I agree.
I mean, I'm okay if it is, partly because
this season really wasn't as good as last season.
This season was not as good as the previous seasons, and it is so wrapped up with a bow that it really could be over, and I could be okay with it. We'll talk about that later, but I think the part with the mother was part of wrapping up Luke's loose ends for a series finale, and that his mother, like Tyler going after his mother, didn't really have a payoff.
Yeah. I think that they had, I don't know that I love that the story with Tyler was all season long as it is. I think that they stretched it out too long. And like you said, they took too long to actually give us that part of the information. Like it would have been better if they even just brought him in the middle of the season, maybe. And then it didn't feel so stretched out. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I think that would have made him more evil and scary and less of just like a weird mustachioed.
But just kind of hung out in the background. Yeah.
Like mean guy, right? Like he's like, yes, I think it's important to have a mystery to why the evil person is there, but at some point I need to really understand him as being like the threat, and the threat wasn't really.
He wasn't much of a threat through the majority of the season.
Yeah, until this last two. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard too, because I really liked this show, but this season just wasn't as it wasn't as good as
this is the weakest season.
Yeah. And I don't know if part of it's because they were all broken up and they weren't like all together or not. I think that might be part of it, but I really don't know. But like I said, I think last season, I think they thought they were done and then they brought it back and I don't know. But through this scene, Luke is telling them that they have to take care of Tyler, who he is, and that he will come after everybody he loves and everybody they love, et cetera, because he's this evil guy and they should be scared of him and they have to find out his real name. That's kind of basically the gist of it. It's like in a lot of shows, you have power over somebody if you know their name. Yeah. So they have to find out the exact, whatever it is, genus, species, whatever, that he is and call him out, and they have to laugh at him is the other thing. He doesn't like being laughed at.
That came out of nowhere all of a sudden at the last minute.
They had something about that in the other episode, but it was really small and they didn't really focus on it. Yeah. Whenever Luke laughed at him, he got all pissy in the one episode.
Yeah. That was kind of subtle. You're right. And it just sort of came like it all came together in this last episode in a way that to me was just a little abrupt.
Yeah. I was also disappointed that we didn't see Phil. Like the fact that she went to the church, I really expected that Phil would pop up at least one episode, especially if it was the end.
And if I'm not wrong, in this episode, they talked to him on the phone, right? Like Luke's like,
we don't see him. They just say
he said we have to find the book, and he said we have to name the demon and all, right? Yes, and it's an off-screen phone call, yeah.
Yes, and I get that he's at the Vatican, but they could have at least like showed him talking on the phone.
Well, I get that actor probably has another job, right?
That's true. Yeah, they're probably not going to pay him to do it, but I don't know. At any rate, I would have liked to have seen Phil. But Zoe tries to use the fact that he's at the Vatican to get this priest to let her into the archives, or not the archives, the catacombs or wherever the book is. It's below the church.
The basement.
And she sort of tries to butter him up, and it doesn't work. I mean, which, to be fair, it probably shouldn't. I don't know that he should just let her down there, but she's trying. So they have to think of something else. And so her and Zoe and
Susan.
I still want to always call her Sarah. I hate
Susan.
that. Susan. So she and Susan decide to dress up as nuns.
No, actually, she sends Lomax because Zoe.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry, you're right.
Zoe has been to the church, and the priest might recognize her. So
yeah, you're right. It's Lomax and Susan.
She gets Susan. Susan gets Lomax to go.
Yeah. Then meanwhile,
this part makes no sense. This part makes no sense to me. This is another part of the episode that I was like, what?
Yeah. Well, we have the idea that Luke sees the bar, the Telltale Heart is being sold, and decides he wants to buy it. And yeah, this is odd. This to me seemed like a story thread that there was no reason to put in unless they were coming back for sure. Because why talk about he's changing his job? He wants to own this bar. This bar means a lot to him for whatever reason. I don't know. It was just very bizarre. I mean, I get he's kind of like wants things to change and it's something that means something to him. And like, I get it, but it did seem out of nowhere that they brought it in. I mean, he's been going to this bar all season. Don't get me wrong. We've seen the bar before, but like that he suddenly wants to buy it is a little strange to me.
Yeah. Also because the bar only came in this season. If the bar had been their hangout since season one, like maybe I could see how important it was. To Luke, I mean, they do seem to have a vaguely supernatural-ish bartender, but maybe not.
Yeah, I thought it was going to turn out that like we didn't pay enough attention and he only talked to Luke and that he was actually dead or something like that. I thought there was something with the bartender, but that just didn't go anywhere. So,
yeah,
I mean, I like the bartender. He has popped up, but
this kind of came out of nowhere that it's for sale. Luke's going to buy it, but. He's not saying like I'm going to sell the real estate company to Susan and only be a bar owner. That's not ever a thing, right? He's going to have two businesses.
I don't know if he meant he was going to retire from real estate. It wasn't super clear. I see Justin's comment. I'm not sure what that was in regards to. That might have been about Murderbot, maybe. I don't know. No, maybe not. I don't know. I'm confused.
I don't know because it popped up. I'm like Susan and Lomax.
Yeah, sorry. Sometimes we miss the comment till a couple minutes later, and we're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
we've moved on, not intentionally, Justin.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wants to buy the bar, and like I said, is he going to retire? Is this what? I don't know. It just wasn't clear. But it's not really the important part of the episode, other than that they're there later on at the bar when they do it.
Yes, because the climax takes place in that bar, but he doesn't have to own it for that to happen.
No, he definitely did not have to own it. I mean, yeah, he had a big party, but he could have rented out the bar. He's got enough money. He's a real estate agent. Like, we didn't need him to buy it. Unless he my only other thought was maybe he intended to, like, settle down there with
Megan.
Megan.
Yeah,
like give them a slower life or something, but like she's already a surgeon, so I'm not sure what that was about. The girl trying to.
He means in Murderbot.
Okay.
To see the basement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, to see the basement. Yeah.
Yeah. She was trying to Bill wanting to see the West Wing. Yeah. I kind of see that. Yeah. But Zoe was just trying to use any tactic she could. It just did not work out. And that's why I think it would have been perfect for Phil to come in. But yeah, they probably either couldn't pay him or he couldn't do it. At least they sort of brought his presence in, I guess, in the last episode. Even if
that's another thing that makes it feel sort of final to me. Like that we're still in touch with the guy that we've wondered about. Like there were so many. I think buying the bar made it feel series finale-ish to me. Like, is Luke like moving on with his life? Is he like so much of it? Just
Yeah, there's some things that I just like. I said though, a lot of them to me though make no sense without seeing what happens after that. Like we don't know why he wanted the bar. Like,
I'm okay. I mean, he's obviously. I'm okay with it. We'll talk about that later. Go ahead with the recap.
Okay. So he goes in to see his mother, and she tells him, hey, Tyler was here. He threatened me. It's Elvis, but he already knew that. So it wasn't, again, really didn't necessarily help that scene other than we saw his mother. I mean, I like having his mother in. I think it's nice that he's, closer to her now, but was it necessary to the story?
Yep.
Probably
Again,
not.
feels like wrapping it up, reminding us that he's on good terms with his mother. And I guess maybe only to put him in the ER where Megan apparently, you watch shows where there's a doctor and they tend to see every single patient who comes to the hot. Like, I don't know if it's a Megan an ER doc. Maybe she is, but
I think she might be, but I honestly don't remember.
Because it's a show. It puts Luke in the hospital where he can see Megan. So
true. It could have been just for that purpose, I guess.
Yeah.
So then Augie goes to Asdra to ask I thought they were still dating, but I think after their last fight, they broke up.
They broke up. I forget her name just now. They broke up.
Yeah, I know you said that, or I said that, and then I forgot what her name was too.
She was like, you're lying to me. You're not. You still. How many times are you going to steal my tech? Like, you're jeopardizing my business. They broke up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he goes to borrow one more thing.
Rochelle.
Yeah. He goes to borrow one more thing from Rochelle.
Yeah. So he came and he's begging her to take it. And yeah, I mean, look, I kind of see both sides. Like, I feel like personally, if she loves him and he's trying to save somebody, she should help him. But she said, "Oh, I'm putting my job at risk for you again and again." But at the same time, isn't this her company? Like, she right? But is she not? Maybe it's not like 100% her company. I don't know.
When you work, so I work for a federal contractor, and when the federal government pays you to create something, you don't own it; they own it.
That's true.
Right? Like, or when anybody pays you a contract to create something, they own it. Right. And she works in like national security adjacent business. Right. And he's like always like, I get why she's not comfortable and why she feels like he's taking it. Like you just said, if she loves him, shouldn't she help him? And I get that. But on the other side of that coin is like, you think because I love you, I'll always help. She's taking advantage of her being in love with him. Right. Is it cool for him to trade on that love?
No, it's not. And she's like, this basically says this is the last time. Which I question too, like if some of these pieces, like he's used since he's asked for because they've helped him. Like, I know that he can't recreate the exact tech and everything, or at least legally can't recreate the exact tech and everything. But like, I kind of wonder why he didn't, once he joined back up with Luke, start making things again. Yeah. So he didn't need this stuff, but neither here nor there. But she's basically like, this is the last time. After this, get out.
Yeah.
It must be that certain shows are like different ratios or something, because I do the pictures on the one show and it's fine. And then I get to another one and they're cropped off and you miss half the picture and it annoys me. But anyway, so I think this was just Susan saying that she would go when Zoe told her to go to the church. Yeah. And her and Lomax go and dress up as nuns. They make up some stuff about, Zoe told her that the other priests got drunk a lot or something. And so she pretends that she's trying to help them out.
Oh yeah, because because Phil had given them inside info on the bishop and that he gets drunk and fights with people in bars. And they use that to.
Yeah. Now, see, if they had a scene like, they saw the bishop in the bar or something, maybe it would have made a little bit more of a connection with the bar, but I don't know. So anyway, she goes down, she gets the book, and this is supposed to be the book that lists, I guess, all the demons and their names and their species and everything that supposedly Luke says lives in every church and people just don't know about it. So that's what this is. But yeah, Susan is pretending to be a nun. She's just,
I've never seen a nun with that much makeup on in my life. And I worked for the Catholic Church for 20 years and I went to Catholic school. And at that, I was like, wow, how would that priest not out her right away by the amount of makeup she's wearing?
Yeah, she should have went home and washed her makeup off first. You're right. But it works. And then she runs into Crash and it's named, Crash, right? And she's like, no, I'm not a nun. I'll explain this to you. And they are implying that she finally told him everything, but we don't see that, which I would have liked to have seen.
I kind of wanted to see that also. I wish I could have seen that conversation.
Yeah, but he is supposed to, I guess, know she starts fires now because she did say she was going to tell him, and then we just didn't see it.
Yeah, we didn't see it, so we don't know.
But yeah, she's like, I'm not a nun, don't worry. Which it would be very strange to come in and see that. So I don't blame them. But they're still doing good. And then Luke goes over to see Tyler. See, this to me was another like part of the episode that was a little weak. Like he says, "Oh, I'm having this party with all my friends. You have to come. You're my friend." Which I don't know why he would want that anyway. But saying that they're having this party with all these people because they have a plan to, try to kill him and laugh and everything. But wouldn't you wait until you had the name before you scheduled the party? Like I didn't understand why they were having the party when they didn't even have the name yet.
For some reason, they only had until midnight. Remember, they had like some sort of a deadline or something, or
No,
I don't know.
I don't know. That part didn't make sense to me. That's why I couldn't figure out why they didn't just wait until Zoe had the name. Unless they thought he'd stop them and they wanted to surprise him. I don't know.
What doesn't make sense to me is the part where Luke and Tyler are still going through the motions of being like friends and client and customer when they both know that the other knows, and it's come out between them, right? And they're so hostile. And I just don't really, the part where they know who Tyler is, and that you go to his house, that Luke goes into his house when Tyler's trying to jump into his body, and he would go to the house and be like, "Oh, come to this party," and that part to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe Tyler couldn't resist going because of who Tyler is, but I don't. Him coming to see him, it's a little muddy, and I don't know if it's just they didn't explain a lot of it or they didn't have time. I almost feel like they stretched the story out too far, but then like there's big chunks of it missing or something.
I feel the same way, Jamie. Like why they're so openly hostile and they're so openly aware of each other's position, and yet let me come and show up and pretend that I'm going to invite you to a party, right? Where Tyler's been like really mean to Luke, and
he has. He looks really good there though. His hair looks great too. But yeah, that's what I mean about it being cropped. You can't see his damn face. But anyway, he gets him to come. And then meanwhile, Zoe is the one that is pouring through the research trying to find the demon's name in order for them to kill / send Tyler back to hell, whatever. She's the one that's trying to find it. And then they have some of Augie working with his tech. And this is where Luke's like, I want to run something by you. He basically thinks Augie will talk him out of buying the bar, but Augie's like, no, go for it. If you want it, this is what you should do. And I think, like we said about it feeling final, I think this was sort of because Augie was going to die. It was like their last kind of like, conversation of them, talking something out, whatever, however you want to say it. So I like that scene. I gotta say, I was shocked and sad they killed Augie. I did not expect that at all. Whenever Death showed up, I was like, really? No, don't do that. Not Augie. I was not happy with that. So this is, I think, he's waiting for Megan. That's why. I don't remember if I think it's in this scene where she says finally that she broke up with that guy.
She broke up with the urologist.
Yeah, she broke up with the urologist, and he tells her again that he's, madly in love with her and that they need to be together and it's time for them to be together. And
I'm a plan.
Which again, was this only done just because it was the end of the show? If it is, maybe. I've said before, I don't know that I don't want to say I don't see the chemistry. I do. I just don't see them being madly in love with each other, at least not to the point Luke seems to think he's in love with.
Maybe because she was basically not in it for 2 seasons, and then all of a sudden they just made them like madly in love for this season, right? Like, and there was a 3-year time jump. So we are to believe that he's pine for her. This is season 3?
4 or 3. Yeah, sorry, 3.
3, but there was a 3-year time jump. So it is 6 years since he met her. And she really wasn't a part.
Well, she wasn't with him for 3 years, though, either. They weren't together. He was just pining after her.
No, and she wasn't really a part of season 2. So it has been years. And then, I just never really, to me, after watching last season.
Yeah, I mean, they had at the beginning, but they just bringing her back after such a long gap and not seeing her, it was just a little.
After watching season 2, I didn't feel like I would say to you, okay, so there's this character Luke, and he can listen to demons or whatever. He can talk to ghosts, and he has unrequited love for his ex-girlfriend that he's pining for her for years. Like that's not a thing, and all of a sudden, like like
yeah.
I think, which is another reason why I feel like, is this the last season and they want to give Luke a happy ending, and so bringing Megan back and making them, I
almost would have rathered him find somebody else though, because it just doesn't feel. I don't know. It doesn't something about.
Why does he have to find someone? Why can't he just be happy
with
himself?
He doesn't. But I'm
right?
saying, like, if they were going to give him a relationship, I almost would have preferred him to meet somebody, because I just don't. Yeah, I just don't quite see it the way that they're trying to push. Lecture's right says chemistry non-existent, script mandate strikes again. Yeah, I mean, they said this is what's happening, and that's why it happened.
They're in love because the script tells us they're in love, not because we see that on the screen.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not saying they didn't have chemistry in the beginning. It's just the fact that she wasn't there for a year, and we're supposed to suddenly believe that he's been madly in love with her.
Their chemistry in season 1 was her being terrified by a ghost in her house and him coming to her rescue, right?
Yeah. Which didn't.
Their chemistry is not great.
But here he is at the bar. There's that guy, the bartender, and he's saying something about he can pay him more money. He's asking about his salary, and this is where I thought we were going to find out he wasn't alive, but I was wrong, and it was really irrelevant, to be honest, that whole part. So this is where Tyler is buying this poison from this guy in order to kill Luke. And
I don't know why he has to wear a Death Eater cloak to do that, right? Or is it just a hoodie? But
I know, like, he's using somebody else's body. What does he care if he gets caught? He can just hop into somebody new. So I don't know. But they're getting ready for the party now. This is the other thing. I don't know if I was wrong, but it looked like when they're having this conversation that Tyler was in the background of one, and I don't know if I got it in the shot, but I thought it was Tyler that was in the background, and I'm thinking they're talking about him. He's not supposed to not be hearing what they're doing. So I don't know. At least it seemed to me that way. Okay. But he's off. He snuck off to put the poison in these glasses. And you see Lomax is like behind him, and it has been kind of paying attention to what he's doing. And you figure that she probably, saw him, but we don't know because they just sort of drop it till later.
So it was really interesting here, Jamie. I thought, like, Tyler, we have seen that he had the power, like he put the whammy on Luke earlier in the season, like he glamoured him a couple of times, right? He wants to jump into his body. He has that power, but he appears to not, like, he has to poison them to kill them. He has to resort to, like, he doesn't.
I'm not sure if
natural killing them.
I'm not sure if this was like he was going to kill them all and then Luke would be grieving. I mean, I assumed he was going to kill Luke too, but I thought his ultimate goal was to jump into Luke. So I don't really understand what was going on or why he was poisoning these people. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like this episode, like there's like big chunks missing that don't make sense. So I'm not quite getting that. Thanks, Justin. I lost what I was saying. Okay, so Zoe is still poring over these books.
And she's running out of time because they're going to have their, like...
they're going to be poisoned and people will laugh at him. And
this book that's written in, like, runes. And she finds it.
Yeah, she does finally find it while they're in the middle of having their party. Which then there's this bombshell that he's proposed to her out of the blue.
And she said yes.
And she said yes. So now he's getting married. I mean, look, I understand giving Luke a happy ending. I'm not saying I don't want Luke to get a happy ending. I just don't know that it makes a bunch of sense. But okay. That being said, I do still hope that this show comes back because maybe they can fix it. But I kind of have a feeling it's not going to. I mean, a lot of the shows at Sci-Fi do not get the time that they deserve, and this show got another season, which I think it didn't even expect.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like they thought they were done, and they were like, yay, we got another season, and then they didn't quite know. Like I said, I think they had sort of wrapped it up last season, and then they didn't know how to unwrap it up and then wrap it up again. Like I think last season if I remember rightly, had a better ending.
To me, this was also a huge bombshell moment where he's like, "Oh, I asked her to marry me, and we're getting married." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" Like,
yeah, and like you just told her you loved her, and she just dumped her boyfriend. But okay.
Well, you haven't been together for 4 years, and like, if my ex-boyfriend, who I'm still friends with, like walked in here and was like, "Do you want to get married?" And I don't know. That only happens on TV, but I think that if this is the end and they're going to wrap up by putting these two together, couldn't they just get back together and be like, "We admit we're in love, we're going to be together"? Like
they don't have to get married.
The proposal feels like a step too far.
Yeah,
Story-wise.
I mean, I get like that this is the perfect opportunity for them to tell people, but unless they were using it just as a reason to have the party, like if he had maybe said at the beginning, let's pretend we're getting engaged so we can have this party and have a reason to have the party, that would have made more sense to me.
And yet your boyfriend, who's like, "I still love you, by the way, would you pretend we're engaged?" Like, that's way too
okay. That would be more weird. That's a good point.
Yeah.
But at least like in an engagement was a reason to have this party. Like, why not say, let's get engaged and tell people, and then we have a reason to have this party? Like, that to me at least would have made more sense, like episode wise, to connect the dots. I don't know. So Luke didn't deserve a happy ending. I like Luke. I like Tim too, though. But I like
Luke. You do like Tim Rosen a lot, which I think helps you to like Luke.
It does. It makes me want him to have a happy ending. He's a good guy.
I mean, Justin's saying in the chat that Luke did not deserve a happy ending. I mean, it's a fair comment. Like, I'd like to hear more about why you don't want it, but did Luke earn it? Like, did Luke... I'm sorry, was Luke not happy? Luke has a thriving business and some good friends, and he made up with his mother.
And I guess that's the problem, too. Like, it didn't feel necessary to add Megan back to his life. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest. I enjoyed the relationship this season of Susan and Crash more than I did the two of them. So, and he was brand new. So, yeah, it just wasn't needed. But, it is what it is.
And where I thought Luke's storyline was, like, there was that episode where he meets the ghost living in the cabin, and Luke learns a lesson about how not everybody has to move on, and some ghosts can stay where they are and can be happy. And I thought, like, Luke's like
maybe learn
evolution as a ghost whisperer was where this was going. And then they're suddenly like, "Oh, Luke, has to be with Megan." Like, it feels shoved. Look, it feels shoved down my throat. Really.
Yeah, it does a little bit. But I, like I said, I do like Luke. I want him to get a happy ending. I just don't know that all of this was necessary to do that.
I think he could have had he didn't need he's already happy.
Why does he need a girlfriend or a wife to be happy anyway? That's the other question there.
Why does a partner
I don't know if he did, but they talk about Tyler, and I don't even remember what he tells them about Tyler, but he says something to make them laugh at him. Which starts this thing. Now, we know at the point people start drinking from the glasses that clearly the poison has been removed, because otherwise they'd all be dead. Because they made a point in the episode earlier, that guy, when he bought the poison off of, said something like, "If you even touch it, you're dead." So, yeah, we knew that.
If you even touch it, you're dead. And then, like, what? Come on. You can kill people with other whatever.
Yeah, like, at least have it a little bit slow acting. But they're all drinking to their engagement. And Zoe comes rushing in last second. You're okay, Justin. I'm not sure what you're apologizing for. So Zoe runs in last second. It does show Lomax saying that she saw the poison. But so she changed it. Zoe runs in last second and she saves the day. And did they show what happened to him? I can't remember what happened to him.
Like, Luke was giving a speech and he started like mocking Tyler publicly and started laughing at him, which was like weakening him. He was getting madder and madder, but it was weakening him. And everybody was in on it, and everybody in the crowd was laughing at him, right?
Yeah, and that woman showed up, but then I don't remember what happened. He didn't get put back in a box, though, did he?
That's when Zoe comes in and names him, I think, is how that went, right?
Yeah, I don't think they actually showed him die, though, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't remember.
Oh, he gets put in the box, and then Augie, you haven't gotten there yet. Augie gets out his machine and they Ghostbuster.
Oh, okay, that's what I was saying. I knew there was something I was missing. I must have missed the picture.
You're not at it yet.
No, because this is him back in his apartment. So
Augie gets his Ghostbuster ray out, and they like get Tyler into a box.
Yes, yeah, they do get him back in, and they're going to chain him up. You're fine, Justin. You could not want Luke to have a happy ending. I just like Luke. That's all. And I like Augie.
I think listen, you're totally entitled to your opinion.
No, you don't have to.
And I mean, I agree that I didn't like this happy ending feels shoved down my throat. And I can see ways in which people could not like that character for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The way it went, like he got the bar too. Like he could have just ended up being happy he bought the bar and like ended with him having a drink with his friends. It would have worked for me. That actually it would have worked better.
Look, Justin, the way I rant about how much I hate every character on every show I watch, you are hardly being a jerk about not liking it.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. So Augie, we see death. And now you realize, okay, that's why she showed up earlier in the season, was so she could show up now and take Augie. And this is where I was like, really, Augie? Why? Like, I like Augie. I was sad. I did not like they killed Augie. And again, if this is a series finale, I'm not sure that I understand the reasoning behind killing him, other than to do something shocking. I don't know. I did not like they killed Augie. I was sad.
I mean,
did his story go as far as it needed to? Maybe. But yeah, I really like Augie, and I feel like if they did have another season, like they need a tech guy. They killed the other tech guy that they had. He was sort of a tech guy. He wasn't a tech guy. I guess he was more an information guy. But yeah, they need Augie. So I'm not sure how they're.
I mean, they can get another guy. I mean, this is another reason why this feels really final to me, because if you're gonna click through this, like death comes for him. He says, I thought I had more time. Death says they always do, or something like that, she says, right? Or everyone thinks that. And then we're at his funeral.
Yeah, and I just having a funeral like the last 2 minutes of the show. Again, if it is the end, why put a sad funeral? Like it just.
It was a nice funeral. Everybody gives a line of
nice funeral, but I mean, I didn't like. I said, I like Augie. I was disappointed they killed Augie.
I mean, if they played it earlier, did you want to watch a third of the show be people reeling with grief and reacting to that? Right.
True. I just almost would have. And look, I like all the characters. I'm not saying I want any of the characters to die, but like I would have rather them like had it be Phil or had it be Zoe, who's like hardly been in it, than been this year.
I don't know. When I watched this, I mostly thought, when I die, I hope 50% of the people aren't from my office. Like,
that's a good point. Yeah, like Rita there. Rita didn't even like these people, and she goes there. Yeah, it's because it's a TV show. But yeah, he has his funeral. That's supposed to be his kids there too. Because I'm assuming that's supposed to be his children that are there.
Oh, does he have children? Are we aware that he has children?
He had another wife and children before, because there was like.
I know he had another wife. Yeah. He's widowed. He's widowed. Yeah.
Yeah, he was widowed. But yes, he had, I think, 2 daughters. I think. So I assume those are the daughters. But anyway, there's Rochelle, who's now upset and probably feels guilty because she argued with him, which it happens in TV a lot. But yeah. And then they're back after the funeral, and it's showing that Susan and Crash are together and are happy again. I don't know that we necessarily need that. Not that it was bad, but I guess it was just
again feels like a series finale. Susan's happy ending and finding a partner.
But that made more sense because that felt like it was coming like all season.
It feels it feels more natural than Luke, and I think Justin nailed it. That why it sits wrong with Luke. It feels a little too Disney, and this show isn't Disney. Yeah. And Luke's happy ending suddenly being thrust on us, it feels a little too perfect and a little too happy, and that's not really this show. And Luke's a little bit tortured, and maybe will always be, right, or should always be if you talk to dead people. But anyway, these people are all happy together.
Yeah. And then it shows him after, and he hears Augie, and he says he wishes he could talk to him, something to that effect, like, I want to talk, wish I could talk to you again. And then he hears Augie and tells him to turn around. So you're to assume that he is going to get to talk to Augie. But that's where I said to you, I would have personally, if they were going to make this an ending and wanted to have this happy ending, I would have preferred to at least see him talk to him. But At least,
See,
I guess
I
they
don't.
left this a little open. And do we need it? No, I'm just saying personally, I would have liked to have seen it because I liked Augie. But and that's not to say you didn't like Augie. I'm just saying I would have liked to have
So
had
some
that part.
people felt this was a cliffhanger, that he hears Augie and he doesn't turn around and see him, and it felt like a cliffhanger or a sign that there will be another series. I thought it felt very final. Like, to me, it felt like, okay, Augie has died. Augie has died naturally. Death has been positioned as a pretty okay character, right? And Augie has died naturally, and he's gone. And that Luke is able to, we've already been told that some characters maybe will move on, some maybe don't need to move on, some ghosts. And that, that Luke is still able to talk to Augie and see Augie felt really like a piece of closure also for Luke, that he could, what he's learned about, he doesn't have to make Augie move on. Augie can move on when Augie's, like, to me, it just felt another piece of finality.
And it wrapped around, I feel like it wrapped around to the beginning of the show, because I mean, the beginning of the show was him talking to his father and everything else. And that's kind of where we started. So yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think they stuck it in there so if they do get another season, they can do something with it. But I definitely don't think that scene implies they have more coming.
I'm not sure, Jamie.
Could. But I don't know.
This show has earned another season. This season, if you only watch this one season of TV that we just watched, that does not deserve another season.
That's
like,
fair. Yeah.
We liked the first two, and maybe as a whole, I'd like to see the series continue. Yeah. But what they did this year is not
great. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there were some good ones, but a lot of it just didn't work, I think, overall. Yeah. But yeah, I would agree with that. Overall, I think the show deserves another season, but this season wasn't real great. But yeah, I definitely think this episode felt final. I mean, like I said, I would like it to come back more because I did enjoy the first two seasons so much. But did it at least get an ending? Yeah. I mean, I can be okay. Although I do think, if remembering rightly, though, I feel like the last season finale would have been a better from what I'm remembering. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. Seemed more serious finale to me than even this did. Yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, I think Tyler was a weak villain if this is the final season, and they don't really know that, but Tyler didn't necessarily always or ever work for me, right?
No, yeah, I agree. But there's not tons of shows of, dedicated sci-fi shows on the channel. Yeah. So I'm still, either way, still sad to see it go. It was one of the better ones.
Well, maybe, but we're getting a new one coming next week. So look, say goodbye to this one and a new one's coming, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. But I will miss it either way. All right. Let us move on to
Dead City.
Yeah. Oh, you want to do Dead City first? Okay, we'll do
Let's do Dead City because it's faster and AJ doesn't watch it and we hate it. I hate it. And then we'll go back and do Resident Alien, which was a season premiere, and we'll give it a little, if we can move a little quickly through Dead City.
Yeah, we'll do Dead City quick. So my main comment about this episode is that a lot of it was crazy and didn't make tons of sense, like the fact that there was a bear. But I liked the bear stuff. I thought it was kind of exciting and it was different. Whether it made tons of sense or not is irrelevant. I did think that it was done well. But why we got into this big discussion, like, see, I don't live in New York, so I don't know. I just assumed the bear came from a zoo. But like Lori lives in New York and she's saying like there's no way there would have been a bear in that area or at the zoo anywhere near there that it could have escaped and gotten there. So I don't know. That part I haven't even thought through. But
my family's from New York. I don't live in New York. I've spent quite a bit of time in New York. I'm willing to suspend disbelief. I believe that bear escaped from, I don't know if there are grizzlies in the Central Park Zoo, the Bronx Zoo. I just believe that bear escaped from either one of the local zoos and made its way over the years into lower Manhattan. Like, I can believe that. It's been 20 years, right? Or 15 years, like however old Herschel is, that's how long the apocalypse has been going on, right?
Yeah. And I guess my point with it is I did like the bear storyline just because it was different and it was exciting the way they did it. I mean, did I really think Maggie was going to die? No, but I liked it.
I was disappointed because I have read so many early reviews from people who saw the season early. I've read on the internet, the scene with the bear that's coming is so great. Maggie and a bear, it's so great. I've read a bunch of, not spoilers, but like critics saying this great scene is coming. And then I was let down when I saw it. Kind of like I saw The Shining for the first time like 6 years ago. And I had always heard it was the scariest movie you'll ever watch. So when I finally watched The Shining, I was like, well, that wasn't that scary, because I had just built up in my head for 20 years. So I had built up in my head for like 8 weeks that this scene was going to be great with this bear. And it was a little...
That's fair. To be fair, though, they did put it in the trailer.
Yes,
Because I know I didn't say anything about it when I was, like talking about what I thought this season, but then I saw like last week, like it was totally in the trailer. So
yeah, and it was a pretty decent looking CGI bear. And while I thought that scene was too short, and I thought there was a couple dumb things in there, but it was a pretty, and we knew Maggie wouldn't die, so that takes away the. I would also would like to watch somebody else fight it, so I could think they might die, because Maggie, cannot die, right? Yeah. But I appreciate that they did something really different and scary, and like we see that humans are bad, but we rarely see the other worries of the apocalypse. Did you see 28? When I saw I Am Legend, the movie where Will Smith is the last man on Earth in New York City, right? We do see a lot of animals that have come to populate like the city after escape, and like we saw the giraffes in The Last of Us or whatever, right? So it's believable to me that the bear is on the loose in Lower Manhattan. Sure.
Yeah. So basically the whole, I guess, idea of this episode is all that Bruegel is going over to their side because he thinks they can. There's a woman that gets attacked by the bear. Really because he thinks that they can benefit him more than the Brazi. So he's flopping sides, which Maggie seems to be the only one that she's like, we can't trust him. Although I think that if it continued to benefit him, I don't necessarily think he would have screwed them. But I think if it would have benefited him to screw them, then he would have. I mean, I think he just goes wherever it works. I do still like Bruegel, though. And I kind of wonder if maybe he will become a part of the next season. Maybe he'll be the villain. I don't know. But I like him. I think he's fun. He's over the top fun.
Yes, and I think a big part of it is I think Kim Coates, the actor, is nailing it. He is nailing it. I mean, there is I got a lot of problems with the show, but the acting, there's a bunch of pretty good actors. Yeah. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan, but I think Kim Coates is really nailing it. And some other people who I'll mention later, but he lends a lot to my
he also fits in that world. Like sometimes the show is kind of like over. I'm trying to think of the way to say it because I don't want to say it. Sometimes the show gets cheesy because it's because we've seen it so long, and but you know what I mean. Yeah. And it gets a little over the top just in general because it's like a zombie show, and like I think that his character fits in really well in that world. Like he's like just sort of I don't want to say he's the comic relief. He's not really the comic relief, but he's like I don't know. I think he was the highlight of the part.
I think the Walking Dead franchise for a long time, I mean, we complain that it has really just come back to one faction fighting another of humans over and over. It's been a problem for several of the spinoffs for a long time, but it can only be successful with a charismatic leader. And Kim Coates, he's got all the charisma. He's bringing it, right? And also, so I'm always getting the name wrong of the actor who plays the Croat, who I'm looking at right now, and his name is, I always pronounce his name wrong.
Oh, I pronounce it wrong too. I think it's
and I'm always pronouncing his name incorrectly, so I'm trying to look up how to pronounce it right now, which I cannot find.
Yeah, Jelko Ivanek is how I pronounce it, but I don't know if that's
Jelko Ivanek, right? Is that his name? Yeah, Jelko Ivanek, yes. Yeah. I mean, he's all charisma also.
Yeah, he's really good too.
JDM, charismatic actor. Like if you're gonna have these people play against each other, you've got to have somebody who can do over the top. And Kim Coates, great, right?
Yeah.
So I like Bruegel also for that reason.
Yeah. So then we have the other storyline where he is upset. See, now that you said that, Croat is upset that the Dama is dead. He does not know quite yet at this point that Negan is the cause of it, but he is not sure. He doesn't really know what to do with himself. I feel like at this point, because he's very like, oh, you're gonna leave. I don't want you to leave. But he does, surprisingly, he does tell Negan, if you want to leave with your family, I won't stop you. I appreciated that. I was surprised he did not try to find some way to coerce him to stay.
Well, I after watching this episode, I think the Crud is a guy who could never be a leader. Like he followed Negan. He was a former savior, right? He followed Negan. Now he followed the Dama, and he killed her, and she deserved and needed to be killed. But now he can't be. He has no one to follow, right? And he's like, "What do I do? What do I do?" She said, "He can never be the leader, right?"
Yeah, and I think he did kind of get scared and not know what to do when he let her die. I still don't think he purposely let her die. I think that he kind of
he totally purposely. She said, help me," and he watched her.
I know, but I feel like he kind of froze, like he was too scared to do anything, too worried that he'd get hurt or whatever. Just that's kind of the person he is. Like he isn't
brave.
He didn't put in the effort to try to save her. I don't think he wanted her dead. I mean, is there a part of him in that moment that was like, maybe I'm better if she's dead? Maybe. And that's probably why he feels guilty. But at the moment, I don't think he was intentionally, I don't know. That's how I felt about it. I know you felt different, but Bear was the MVP of the episode. Yeah. Bear is cool.
He was the best actor in the episode.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't know that he wanted her dead, and now he's kind of like flailing. He doesn't know what to do.
I think he wanted her dead, but I think he's not the guy. Like, I think he's horrified that he did it. Not that he's a good person who doesn't want to kill people, because he's killed Witcher and kill people. I think to go up against the leader and kill the leader is something that he can't do. I think
that's true. But I do think that if Negan took him back, I do think he would be loyal to Negan. He seems loyal to a fault.
He's loyal to anyone. He can't lead. He just wants to follow.
Yeah.
He'll be your number. He's an excellent number 2 henchman.
Yes.
Vicious henchman.
Yeah. So Negan basically is like, I'm gonna go leave and find my family is his plans. And then we have them with Bruegel. She's saying, don't trust them. And, Armstrong still wants the methane.
Really?
He still wants to.
That's kind of the dumbest part of this show, right?
It is. Like, I get it, but at the same time, it's going a little far. But Maggie even says to him, like, you have to know at this point, like, I'm leaving. She's like, this is not going to happen. And, she only ends up pretty much staying the amount of time that she does and doing what she does, I think, because she does not want them to go kill Negan. I think that, and we talked a lot, for anybody who wants to see it, Lori's and I's conversation on Sunday, we talked a lot about her messed up, relationship with Negan, and does she want to protect him? Does she feel guilty if something happens to him because she traded him for her son? Does she feel that with some kind of responsibility, and does she think of him more like a person now because he saved her son? Kind of all those things. Like, I do think that she did not want Bruegel to go after them and kill Negan. I think that is a big part of why this went down the way it did.
Really?
I don't know if she understands why, and I think it's really messed up. But that was kind of
okay.
That's
fair. I think this is partly some bullshit of them trying to redeem Negan in a sense and make Negan they need us to root for Negan, and so they're co-opting Maggie to support Negan a little bit. I think that's a show thing that's going on. Within the show, I think she hates Negan. I think the part where he saved her son does make her feel a little beholden to him.
Wow.
I think the part where he was the father figure to Ginny and where he has his own son now, a wife and a son, makes her maybe feel like she doesn't want them to suffer by Negan being killed, and she feels she has to save the family. And but I think her son Herschel is right that, like, this is messed up, and also the part that Herschel doesn't even care. Like Herschel doesn't care if she kills Negan. Herschel, like Maggie has made it so that Glenn is almost somebody that Herschel doesn't want to hear about. And right, she's made Glenn like
she's put Glenn on this pedestal, and he doesn't know him. He's never met him, and yeah, her life has become about Negan. Which, look, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense that she's become obsessed in a weird. I'm not to the way she has, but I mean that it's a big part of her life because of what happened. Like that part I understand.
And I think the part where Herschel's like, you've ignored me my entire life because your hatred of Negan is all consuming and you miss my father who's been dead for 15 years so hard that you make me feel like I don't exist. Yeah, like there's that also, right?
Yeah, there is that.
And that's
I agree with what Muncher said. Negan's unredeemable but charismatic. And we went into
hell
that
too.
Yeah. Like, you can't help but like Negan as much as you don't like Negan. Like I've told you I've said this multiple times. Like I just had to get over the fact that I couldn't forgive Negan and just move on because otherwise I can't enjoy the show. So do I really believe in real life that Maggie could ever work with Negan, ever trust Negan? No, but it's a TV show, and yeah.
I mean, and I agree with Muncher and with you. Negan's unredeemable. I think the show wants us to. Is the show trying to redeem him? The show wants us to give him space. Does the show want us to forgive him? I mean, they're trying to do a thing where can Negan forgive himself? Can Negan change? Can Negan whatever? Right? Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that we have to be on that. Negan doesn't support him. Like if someone killed my loved one, and then asks me to come to the courthouse to plead for him not to get the death penalty, like I could see why a person would be like, no, I can't do that for you, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of what this is, right? Like not only did he kill Glenn, but in a most vicious fashion and for really kind of no reason. And it's horrible.
And save her son, and I think that's what makes it so messed up. Like she can't hate him for the sense that he did protect him. He did give his life and go and let her trade him for Herschel, and he did it. And
Maggie kind of set it up, but
I mean, like she can't. Maggie is a good person, so Maggie is always going to appreciate that, and I think that stops her from having 100% hatred and wanting him to die. I think that Maggie needs to forgive him because I think that it would be beneficial for Maggie and Herschel if she forgave him. Not that she should go work with Negan or go be best friends with Negan, but she needs to forgive him and move on if that's what lets her move on.
And that stuff happens, right? I've talked about if someone killed your loved one, there are people who are like, I don't care if you killed my loved one, I don't believe in the death penalty. And you killed my loved one, but I forgive you because it releases me, not for you. I forgive you for me, right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's I think what Maggie needs to do because Maggie needs to move on. Will that happen in the scope of this TV show? Because they need to keep them together. Probably not.
Well, but Maggie has not moved on one iota. Like her son Herschel's always like, "Come on, mom," right? Yeah. But yeah, he's irredeemable. He's charismatic as heck. He's Do I think it's possible for characters to do better in their lives? Sure. Like Negan could never be redeemed. Even if Negan were to give his life for Maggie's, it would not be. It would be fitting, but it wouldn't be redemption. It can never erase what he's done as the head of the Saviors, right? It can never erase what he's done. And in order to do that stuff, is that part of you, right? And we're going to see what happens in the rest of this episode with him, where, this season has been about will Negan go back to his old ways? Is that who Negan really is? Can Negan resist that?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm going through this. Okay. So then we have the whole thing with the bear. Well, no, first we have dinner, which was kind of funny. And he's basically like, hey, I'm going to help you guys. I'll be on your side. And because he even admits, I'll help you because I need you and I don't want to fight you. So it's beneficial for me.
Yeah. Brutal.
I appreciate at least he's honest. He's like, I don't want to fight against, New Babylon. That's not fun for me. So
I know. And yet I believe they could totally if the factions of New York could come together, there's no way New Babylon could invade New York. It also makes no sense because, like, if you just know that they're using zombies for methane, if you have one scientist in your entire population, can't they figure out how to use zombies for fuel themselves? I'm sorry, it's not like cold fusion, right? It's not like time travel. It's just
the other thing we were talking about is like, is Croat really? He can't be the only guy that knows how to do it. Like, it doesn't make sense. But again, that's one of the weaknesses. But he's he's willing to be on their side and do what they want. If they help him get the methane, he'll help them get the methane, and he just doesn't want to fight New Babylon, basically. And he's kind of like, as long as you let me have my stuff that makes me happy and rich and powerful and have power and, you know, electricity and everything, and leave me alone, I won't bug you. That's kind of what he says.
I love this about him. I love that he lives in like the Met, basically, right? Is this the Met?
And I want to know how they get all these fruit and vegetables and bread and everything else. They have like all these crazy things.
Well, I think they're growing it so far, but he lives, you know. The bread. So what I love about him is like, he loves these works of art and he sees real meaning in like the painting and other things that are around him. And juxtapose him with the Dama, who the Dama also had all this art around her, but she felt so fake and like a wicked witch with like a bunch of art around her. And the way the Dama had art in her house, like felt kind of fake. And the way Bruegel embraces art, to me, just feels very different and real. And like, I just like the way I don't like having all these characters who are like, let me go into all the museums and get all the great art and live with it, right? I mean, would I do that? Maybe. Would it be my number one thing? No. But I just feel like Bruegel, the way he does it just makes more sense to me. It
feels true. Yeah.
It feels true, yeah. And I like it so much more than the Dama.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, I like that he's just kind of like, I mean, it kind of says, I just care about me and I'll help you. I don't care.
Fair. That's fair.
I just want to be happy. I mean, he's not putting on airs. He's just admitting that he's kind of saying that he's jumping to their side because it benefits him.
Yeah.
So that's part of why I like him. So then this woman comes in that was killed by the bear. He doesn't know why she was killed. I do like how he had the blade come out of his watch. But yeah, that's pretty much that whole scene.
Oh, go back. Can you believe, was it in this episode where they said Ginny is 12 years old? I'm sorry, but
they said Ginny was 12? I missed that. I know they said she wasn't old enough to drink, but I missed.
Well, he says she's old to drink, but somebody says she's 12 at some point. I think it's in this episode, or last week. Somebody says she's 12. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that actress looks every bit of 19 years old, right?
I didn't hear that, unless they were being sarcastic. I don't know. I didn't hear that. But no, she's not 12. I mean, if she's supposed to be 12, that's weird.
Well, her supposed to be about 15 or 16, right?
I can, maybe buy that, which she's still older than that. But yeah, I didn't hear somebody say she was 12. I don't know. I missed that if they did.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, so then we have the stuff again with him being being dead, which we kind of talked about that already. And then we have with Maggie saying she's going to leave. And I actually kind of wonder if Herschel really thinks she will leave, or if Herschel thinks that she'll end up back there again. I think.
I think Maggie means it when she says we're leaving tomorrow. I'm taking these kids.
No, I think she means it. I just wonder if Herschel is like, does she really mean it? Like, I don't think Herschel believes it.
Yeah, fair.
And then here, I like their conversation about the cigarettes. That was funny, silly but funny, about the surgeon.
But this is where he sees the bottom of Negan's shoe, right?
Yeah, he sees, and first he tells him, that's where I think he's telling him he can leave, and then he sees the bottom of his shoe. He flips out.
So I think, actually, if you click back, I think they've done a good job. Can you go back one more?
Here, hold on. Gotta scroll.
One more. I want to see. So I think they did a really good job. So the Croat has projected power really with his clothes and everything this entire season. And I think, you talked about how scared he is and how maybe weak he is after he killed the Dama. I think they did a good job of making the Croat look. He just looks older. Like, I feel like the way they did his makeup and his clothes.
Wearing his good clothes. I hadn't even
noticed.
Doesn't
he look older and weaker suddenly, like in these scenes?
Yeah. I think too, it's like his shoulders are hunched. He's just kind of like, it's the actor doing it as well. But yeah, he does. I hadn't even thought about it.
Yeah.
But he definitely does. But he does not like when he finds out Negan was behind her death. But maybe
no, Negan was not behind her death. Okay.
Well, Negan started the ball rolling. Negan wasn't behind her death. Negan was trying to cause problems between him, but what Negan did led to her death.
Negan manipulated. Negan played the Croat for sure. I think it's kind of dumb that when he sees blood on the bottom of Negan's shoe, he figures it out, because I think clearly there'd be blood everywhere you're walking around in any part of the world, right? Like there's blood everywhere. There's like zombies. There's zombies living in there with them, chained up. There's like, but he sees the blood and it's a show, so right away he figures it out that it's the rat blood.
He's not too smart, or he would have figured it out a long time ago. So,
but Negan has manipulated him, but Negan's not behind it.
He was the cause of it though, because if
Negan's not the cause of it,
she wouldn't have flipped out. She wouldn't have been not careful.
Negan set some things into motion. Yeah, Negan set the Croat against the Dama. But I don't know that Negan really intended for her to die. No, Negan intended for the Croat to...
He intended for them to fight and him to get away, I think, more than anything.
Oh, for the Croat, the Croat might usurp her, but I don't think Negan really even saw the ending. Or I wouldn't say Negan's behind it. No, I do think if I'm the Croat, I'm like, oh, Negan, you made me do it. And Negan be like, whatever, you did it, dude. Right? But
right, exactly, yeah. He blames him. Like, I'm not saying that he has necessarily a right to blame him, but he blames him. But yes, you're right. Negan didn't intend for her to die. Negan intended for them to fight each other and him to come out on top, I think is kind of what he intended.
Which is what has happened, right?
It has happened. But I do a little bit feel bad for Croat though, because like he really likes Negan, and then suddenly he's like, what the hell, man? Like you did all this to me? Like that's how I said he would have been loyal to him. So there's like a tiny part of me that feels a little bad for this guy because he's so weak, and he's like, you did that to me. And like he just gets so pissed off. But I also got to question his brains that he goes after Negan with the bat. Because look, I'm not saying that guy isn't capable of a fight, but Negan is bigger than him. Negan is younger than him. Negan is fit. And like the fact that he thinks he can like attack Negan and this is going to turn out well is not smart. But Negan doesn't kill him, so it works out okay.
Yeah.
In that sense. Yeah, and Negan... Now, see, this is where Lori and I had differing of opinions. I think that Negan, I don't think Negan wanted to be around him, period. But I think Negan sent him away because that was like the worst punishment for him, was for him to be like, you're not important here. You're not going to lead these people, and you're not going to be around me. I don't want you here. That was how I took it. Lori thinks that he more did it because he didn't want to corrupt him any more than he already did, because he does say that he was the one who made him who he was. But I don't know. I didn't take it in that sense.
Like, I disagree with both of you.
Okay, that's fair.
I think Negan has to be concerned. Could any of the people in their community be loyal to the Croat? And he can't risk that the Croat might come at him again. Might have loyalty. He's easily manipulated. I also think, I don't think at this point that Negan intends to lead them. I don't know that Negan wants to lead them, and Negan's not ready to leave, but he can't. I don't think he was.
So you think it's not so much he can't trust him, he can't trust the other people with him, is kind of what you're saying.
Yes, and both. That's what I'm saying, I guess. I don't think Negan was trying to punish the Croat. I don't think so. I think there was a point in Negan's evolution. I think there's what, especially going back to when he first appears in Walking Dead, he was about humiliating people. Yeah. But I don't think the Negan that we know now is interested in humiliating the Croat and banishing him to hurt him. I think he's banishing him because he has to project power. Like Negan, the only way Negan can survive is to project power. And so like he can't get out of New York yet. And he has to be in power, and exiling the Croat is a way to exhibit power without killing him. I think he doesn't want to kill him. He's known the guy.
No, I agree. He doesn't want to kill him.
And he's a weak little weasel. Negan's not a guy that. Yeah, I think he exiles him kind of to save him, but he can't trust. He's got to do something to project power.
Right, I get that. But either way, Negan sends him away.
Which is a bad idea because that guy's going to come back before the end of the season, right?
Oh, I'm sure. And also, we also made a comment on the fact that he like grabs this barbed wire and doesn't get cut.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Either way, he sends him away, regardless of the reason. He's upset, and he takes off. Now, Ginny is got an infection, clearly. The conversation with Maggie, where Maggie's like, I see myself in you. I don't really like the stuff with Ginny, so to me, this is kind of the least.
That's not a great part of the storyline.
Yeah. So now the other thing. Okay, so Negan goes and he finds Pierce. Why the hell was he sitting in his cell other than he needed to find Pierce? Like, couldn't he just been walking down the hall and heard him? The fact that he went and sat in his cell was really weird to me. And
I know. Let me go to my cell to contemplate my future or whatever, right? Like,
just have him walking down the hall and hear him. Like, we didn't need that. Anyway, so he finds Pierce. I did think their conversation was funny. I enjoyed the little conversation about winning and losing, and like he's basically like, world shit period, kid. It's sort of, I mean, what he basically is saying, like, it doesn't matter whether it's going your way or not.
Pierce has been an annoying and terrible character, I think. But this scene allowed us to hear from Negan on in a way that was okay, right? Like Negan's part of this. That kid is like, whatever. I hate that kid.
Excuse me. Yeah, he is kind of annoying. So I was going to say, Butcher says no one in the show can really be trusted. Quite sad for apocalyptic world. I think you could trust Maggie, but that's probably about it.
Who, Maggie?
Yeah, I think you could trust Maggie.
Not if you're Negan, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe not if you're Negan. That's a good point. She did betray him. Okay, so now this is the part that annoys the shit out of me. Herschel gets up, he goes and he poisons them.
He's going to poison everybody with Walker blood. What a little weaselly piece of shit.
I am assuming, and I don't know because we won't ever know, but I think that he intended maybe to go back and tell his mother so she didn't drink it or take her with him or something. I don't know. Maybe he wanted to kill her too. I don't know. I do not understand any of the point that this kid is still doing what he's doing. It seems to me at this point they're not saying he was brainwashed. I know he's messed up because of things that have happened, but I just don't understand any of his motivation.
I don't get, like, poisoning Bruegel's people would benefit the Dama's people. He thinks the Dama's alive, right? So he's poisoning Bruegel's people so that the Dama
people. So I'm not sure. I mean, for all he knows, this could be part of her plan. Maybe she sent them there. You would think that you'd maybe think it through.
But the plan was for Bruegel to join forces. They all need to join forces to defeat New Babylon, right? Like,
yeah. Well, no, he's saying he'll throw in with New Babylon.
Kim Coates is, So Bruegel's going to throw in New Babylon. So against the Dama, yeah. So Herschel's going to poison them all.
Yeah,
I find it kind of shocking that
the Dama told him to do that. I don't think the Dama told him to do that. I just was saying that. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but she's dead, so at this point, it's not really relevant.
But he's acting in the Dama's interests,
and he might be. And I would think that Herschel might be thinking, maybe this is part of her plan. Maybe I shouldn't just kill them all. So.
I think it's kind of surprising that Herschel's taking this action that could literally kill tens or dozens or hundreds of 100 people. Like he's poisoned the drinking water.
Potentially including his own mother. Yeah.
Including his mother, right? Yeah.
Yeah, big problem with that. So she catches him and is like, what are you doing? With good reason. And is kind of like, what the fuck, kid? And then the bear comes. So
he's a little whiny whiner, right?
Yeah, I am at the point I would not care if Herschel died at all. And that's a problem because you're not supposed to think that. But I really do not like Herschel anymore.
And yet this kid is, I think this kid is really one of the better actors on the show.
Yeah, the actor is great. The character I am annoyed as shit with. I do not understand his motivation. Like I said, I don't get it. So she fights the bear. She ends up impaling the bear. I mean, I don't know that there's a lot to say about that. It's cool, but she ends up, in behind the fence, and then it somehow impales itself, and the end. And then she goes to look for Herschel and can't find him. So she talks to Negan. And Negan's like, well, if he did come here, he'd find out the Dama was dead anyway, so you don't got to worry about her. And this is where Negan asks her what he should do. And yeah, I'm not. She just kind of like ignores him and walks out and doesn't even answer him. But really, yeah, I'm not even sure why he did ask her, to be honest. Like, I guess he wants her opinion, but he can't. I mean, there is kind of the idea where I think the important takeaway from the scene is the part where he says, um, did good things really happen, or did we just remember him that way? Because we had earlier in the season the whole thing with Maggie and Herschel and the lightning bugs and everything. Like, she is not sure if she's remembering the past the way it is, but.
Well, and we've also had several characters, including Maggie, Pearl, all of them have said, like, we're trying to bring back an old world. Was it really that great? And Herschel and Ginny are like, what are you trying to, we don't know. We don't care. Why are you trying to bring back a world? It sounds like you're always fighting. Like, it doesn't sound that different, right? Like, that's definitely a thing of this season, that all of the main characters are like, why are we trying to bring back this old world? Was it really that good?
Yeah, but I think Negan is kind of like, everything has always gone wrong. I'll just corrupt them if they come, make things worse.
I thought this was I think Negan sending his family away was one of the biggest mistakes of this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I think, so she doesn't help him. And then she's left them and the bear meets there, I guess. But he does tell Ginny she left. Ginny's upset. So yeah, he tells these people, he sees his wife and kid, he knows they're there, and he tells them to send them away. I agree. I think this was really stupid on Negan's part. Like, you've been worried about your family. You want your family to be safe. You are the best one to keep your family safe. For you to think that you're going to corrupt them in that, like, I get it, but you're a changed person.
So is that what you thought? Did you think that he thought he'd corrupt them? Do you think he thought they'd just be in danger?
I think he thought that he would hurt them. But the thing is I also question, does this mean, and whether that's his intent or not, it scares me that this means that he's going to become an evil leader of this place. And if he does, I'm done.
Yeah.
But,
So I thought one of the reasons maybe why he sent them away was he doesn't want them to see what he's become. I think maybe his wife, Annie, she didn't know him. She didn't know him. Annie, right? That's her name. She didn't know him as a savior, but I think he's confided in her. I think she knows that part of his past. I think maybe he doesn't want her to see that. I think, why would anybody bring a tiny child into this place, right? But I think it didn't make sense and it was stupid. I think
he could protect him there. He's the leader. Yes. He could I think that he could become the leader he should have been the first time. I mean, he makes this comment to, I don't know if it was to Maggie or to Brad, where he says that, like, he was trying to help his people and he messed them up more than he helped them. But I think the fact that he recognizes that, like, why can't he make this place the place he should have made the sanctuary? Like, why not start over? You have the ability now.
Well, I like that, Jamie. I do like that a lot. But I also think that maybe Negan's addiction is power and leadership, and Negan is better off if he doesn't seek that. Like, what Negan has done for the last many years is not to seek that and to stay away from that. And maybe that's where he's better off. I agree with you, though, that to be like, send them back to Tennessee just puts them in greater danger. And
go with them then. If you don't want to stay,
go with them, right? Like, if you want to send them back. But I think this idea that Negan, they have been, we have not seen it, but I think they're a major part of Negan's change in the last years, that Maggie, the person that Maggie doesn't want to kill now, exists partly because of them, right? And Maggie doesn't want to kill him because of his wife and kid partly. And to be like, send them away, I thought it was like,
to me, I was just, what the fuck, Negan? That was
yes, he's using them the same way. It just made no sense, and I to make this big deal, and then he never speaks to them. They make this big deal for weeks and weeks. They're coming, and he never speaks to them. That pissed me off.
Yeah, I don't get it. And somebody did say something, and I don't remember who it was. Maybe Muncher remembers. I don't remember. But somebody said that Jeffrey Dean Morgan didn't want that storyline anymore with his family there or something.
Oh, really?
Change it. I don't know, because I didn't hear it and I forget who said it. But if that's the case, then maybe they've changed things around. I don't know. To me, it makes no sense. He sent them away. Like, if you don't want the power because it's corrupting you, then leave. Like, it's just stupid.
And you don't want them to
as
see
I
you
said, Muncher, yes, it probably has been.
Yes, I think AJ has been snickering. I don't think Negan has done anything that bad that he needs to be ashamed to see his wife right now. Right. I think Negan has
before, yes, but she already knows about that. So
I think since he's been in New York, he's worked hard. He tried to save the historian's life. He tried to save the violinist's life. He's tried to not. I think Negan
saved Herschel's life.
He doesn't need to be ashamed of what he's done in New York so far.
I agree. But yeah, that's that is, I think.
That is that.
Let me see.
That's pretty much.
Here's the thing with them playing cards, or
they're playing bridge, and then Bruegel reveals that he has what's her name, the horrible woman, Navarez, who I didn't really need to see. I appreciate that a lot of actors enjoy coming back as a zombie at the last minute.
Yeah, she was a good actress too in this, so I mean.
And it turns out that before she died, like, she apparently lasted a long time, and Bruegel learned that New Babylon doesn't know that Pearlie lied about killing Negan, right? They don't know.
Yeah, I at first didn't get this scene. The scene was explained to me because I forgot that there's more New Babylon. Like, I was thinking they weren't all of New Babylon, and that's why I was like, why does it matter whether Negan's alive? She's dead. My thing with this that confused me a lot this season is Pearlie was supposed to be ahead of her in the military.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be listening to his rule, and she never did, and she should have sort of took over. And because she did that, she should have been the one that should have been court-martialed in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that made sense. So I don't know. I was kind of like, why does it matter? But I forgot there are other New Babylon, and he does have people above him that are not going to be happy. So yeah,
I didn't really totally get this either. But the point, I guess, was that Bruegel has some information that he can co-opt Pearlie to support him somehow.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I thought maybe he was going to use her for his next Walker fighter, but I guess not.
Oh my God, I'm so over that. Yeah.
No, he killed her, so it's all gone. It's all done.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the end. Yeah. It was a little confusing to me. At least I wasn't the only one. Oh, Ginny. I forgot about Ginny. So Ginny comes to kill him, and then she passes out. I would not be surprised if Ginny dies.
I kind of hope she does. She's annoying, and she has no point in the show, really.
Yeah. I guess
especially like so part of the show is that Negan had sent his family away, and then he took on Ginny as a foster child. And if his like, I'm not sure what they're doing with his family being back with Ginny. I don't know. I think maybe they're using Ginny as sort of like a younger Maggie kind of thing. Like, Maggie wants to kill him because he killed her husband. Ginny wants to kill him. Like, Ginny wants to kill Negan. And somehow Maggie doesn't want Ginny to kill Negan. I think because of what it would do to Ginny to kill her.
I think Maggie knows it would ruin, like, make Ginny nuts. Not that it would hurt me, but
it's a storyline that doesn't have enough legs to really interest me, right?
I agree, and Ginny has been an annoying character this season, so I'm totally fine if she dies. I mean, the actress is fine. I just don't like the character, and I'm over it. So yeah, but this was episode 6, so there's, I don't know how many, is there 8 or 10?
I don't know.
I think there's 8. I think there's 8.
I think there's 8 too, so 2 more, yeah.
So yeah, not a whole lot left at any rate.
Good.
So. All right, so if AJ is still hanging out and he's still here, we can move on to Resident Alien. There's Bridget. I like Bridget. And if anybody missed it, you can see my interview with Alan, and the showrunner is up. So make sure.
Good. I want to see that.
Yeah, it's a good interview. So I had lots of video editing issues, which is why it took long, but it's up. All right. I am going to turn my camera off while you guys are talking.
Hey, Muncher, to answer your question, no snickering tonight because everything I was hearing was stupid, and it amazes me how long these two just talked about a show they hate.
I know. I want it to go faster, but it doesn't always happen.
We end up Gavin. Sorry. But
we need a moderator.
Yes. We do.
All right. So Jamie's off camera. Season premiere.
I'm hurting a little bit.
Resident Alien. This episode was okay. I actually went back and watched the last season finale because it was so long ago, right? I always do. I thought what happened was a little predictable, but still kind of funny. And I was really glad to see the kids back in this episode. I've missed the kids The kids have not been around much last season.
They are so old.
I know.
The kids are so old. Kids have grown up. I didn't even recognize Max. I was like, wait, is that the same Max? That kid who plays Max has really changed as he ages.
He's grown up. He's hit his growth spurt, I think, or starting to.
Yeah. I felt a little bit like, okay, so, we learned that the Mantid has taken over Harry's body, and he behaves nothing like Harry. And I was a little bit like, it was kind of funny, but how can Asta not even really notice or suspect? I like the way they did his hair and his whole look.
Oh my God, his hair was great. Cool. You know what? It actually made perfect sense to me that nobody questioned, because you knew the minute that Harry says there's no way anybody still can possibly believe that's me. That's exactly the opposite. You know exactly what's going to happen, and it's believable to me because they're all passing it. First of all, Harry's a nut to begin with, and those that know Harry is an alien, like Asta and Darcy, and whoever the hell else knows. I don't even know who knows anymore.
I think Asta's father knows. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is nothing new for Harry really, as far as how he's acting, because he tries new things, he does new things. And Asta seems to be chalking it up as this is how he's grieving over losing Bridget.
Yeah.
So that's why it doesn't surprise me in the least.
It's also the fact that the whole show is built around the fact that a whole town of people doesn't notice he's been taken over by an alien as it is. Because, I mean, he was a different person originally and nobody noticed.
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the storylines that they started out with to get us going in the season. However, once again, I have to say, Ben is the worst. He is so I can't stand Ben. Every season, I can't stand Ben.
Ben's stupidity defies belief, right?
Yeah.
I can believe that Terry O'Quinn is a half man.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
I believe that, but I can't believe that Ben is so stupid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, Terry O'Quinn's character, that shit was great. He's oh my God, this is so good.
But he can't swallow.
And poor Liv is like, oh, why do I keep coming up here?
Oh yeah. That was fun.
So before we get to that part, there's some other stuff.
Sure, Jamie, jump us in. Sure.
What about the fact that
oh yeah.
Oh my God, Asta and Joseph. Oh my God.
I believe unless it changes, I'm talking to him on Friday, by the way. So if anybody has any questions for Enver, send them my way on either Discord or Twitter. So yeah. But I was really shocked by that that she's sleeping with him. I mean, not just because he's an alien, but because he's Joseph, I guess.
I mean, much has been made about how good looking he is since his introduction. I did love the part where Asta was disgusted with herself and was like, you got to get out of here. She doesn't want Darcy to know. And I thought, at first I thought she didn't want Darcy to know because Darcy would be jealous. No, Darcy would scorn her. Is why she didn't want him, right?
Yeah.
No, this was not intentional. This should not have happened. And it sounds like they've done it a couple times and they keep having.
And it's totally going to happen again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And look at that in the background. I can get behind that for sure.
Yeah, I can get behind it too. So yeah, that was funny though. But Darcy definitely. Oh wait, now I'm too far. Sorry, I'm going into too far with that. But yeah, she is trying to get rid of him and is embarrassed that she did it and not happy, but she did. So, but yeah, I was surprised with that. So
I
then,
wasn't surprised at all. It was so obvious to me. The minute I saw she was in bed with somebody, I was like, it's totally
oh
Joseph.
yeah, as soon as you saw she was in bed with someone, you knew it was him. But I mean, like overall, that she slept with him, I was surprised. So then, other than that, we also have, and he knows about it, because he's, a gray. We have the story with the baby, and
Darcy, and she's calling the baby Daisy, right?
Yeah. She called the baby Daisy, and this is I'm gonna end up calling them by the actors' names again. Ben and Kate's
daughter, who they call Megan, I think.
They have a name for her? I don't think they had a name.
I could be wrong. Okay, maybe just call her my baby.
Yeah, my baby. So they are afraid to give her back because they know the Greys are watching Ben and Kate.
They can't give her back. Darcy doesn't want to give her back to Ben and Kate because the Greys will then just snatch her up. Is what? Yes, you're right. I get that.
Pretending that
I was confused for a minute.
Kid of a friend, and Darcy's like, we can't do that. And then we have, meanwhile, the kids who know. He knows it's not Harry because he can see the Manid instead of seeing Harry, instead of seeing what he normally sees with Harry. So him and Sahar are trying to figure out what to do about that.
Max, the child, that boy is almost unrecognizable. He's grown up so much.
He hit his. That's why I said he hit his first part of his, or maybe all of his growth spurt. I don't know, but he hit his growth spurt.
And his voice, like Sahar, her voice has not changed.
But it's because he's a boy. Yeah, he's.
Well, that's what I mean. Her voice hasn't changed. She immediately. These kids. I like how they're at odds. Not at odds, but I like the parts where Max is like, "Didn't you bring a weapon for me?" And so I was like, "No, I assume we were both independently developing anti-aliens." Right,
the ones that are not bad for the environment or whatever it is.
It's their typical.
They're dynamic.
Yeah, they're cute. I like them. Okay, let's see more of that, and then we have this thing where Terry O'Quinn's character, that I can't think of his name. Terry O'Quinn's character's son is drawing these pictures for Harry of his different friends, and he's giving him food as he does it or whatever. He's bribing him to do it. And he's hanging them up in the cell. And then we go to Ben and Kate, who Kate has been learning, I guess, defense, working out, punching this. I don't understand why he thought that the dummy looked like him all of a sudden. I guess the way she put the hair on it.
Oh, it totally does. The dummy totally looks like it. First of all, but not only does the dummy look like him, I think it's totally intentional, and I think she did it.
Oh, I'm sure it's intentional, but I didn't get what it. I don't know. Maybe I didn't really look at it that close.
Because Ben is an insecure doofus.
Well, yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And it's funny actually. You hear about all these toxic relationships, where you on TV, whatnot. You see people that are like, nobody's ever going to love you like I will, and they don't. So to get the person so they don't leave. Ben does it to himself.
Yeah.
Ben has it in his head that nobody's ever going to love him like Kate, but he's always insecure about everything and assuming that Kate doesn't really love him and shit. He's like, why does the dummy look like me? Well, because it does. Because you're a dummy.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to keep going on. I'm just confused because I must be doing something wrong because I can see the little thumbnails they're different than what's in the picture. I'm wondering if it's Lightroom's cutting them off because you can see the dummy in the little thumbnail, but I'm not seeing it in the picture either. That's why it's hidden.
This
so
picture
I don't know.
looks fine.
No, yeah. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm seeing it in the little picture and it's not there. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, he's insecure. You're right. But she's trying to, I guess, fight back after.
She's preparing herself so that the next time they take her, she can fight them, right? Isn't that her stated thing? She thinks when they take her, she'll be able to fight. She won't because when they take you, they mess with your brain, right? And you can't.
And I remember last season, the finale, our whole controversy over, Darcy, if she did the right thing by keeping the baby away from them and everything, and I like that we got kind of a resolution to that very quickly. Because I remember we were all kind of like back and forth about it, and we all saw both sides and everything. But it turns out Darcy really was the smartest thing to do, because we see, Kate at the end of the episode is getting questioned by the Greys with a little blue proby things, and she's totally out of it. Like she has no idea that's happening.
Her idea that she could fight back was misplaced.
Yeah, but it probably makes her feel safer, which is what's.
And I really did like the fact that Darcy gave the baby to that family, because we don't need, it was cute for a little bit. We don't need the baby.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that'll come back around though, and eventually.
Eventually. Yeah. But no babies on the show. Babies getting away.
Darcy
otherwise
was funny for half an episode, but
right. But that's what I'm saying. If we have that baby around all the time, Darcy's not really involved.
Well, and I was really thinking like, oh, where this is going is Darcy being too attached to the baby. She won't be able to give the baby back. It'll be really like, I like that they kind of threw that out and did something different.
Yeah,
I agree.
So then we have Liv and the sheriff.
Oh my god,
poor Liv.
I know, poor Liv.
He's lost all that weight.
He's also late. He's not noticing, not that he's not noticing. He's not saying anything.
Well, we think he's not noticing anything at first, right?
He's not saying anything. But yeah, she's kind of taking care of everything while he's not there, because he's off getting therapy and trying to figure out what's going on, because he saw an alien and isn't dealing well with it. It's kind of that whole storyline.
Swamp gas made him hallucinate.
Yeah, he's having a hard time believing it.
I mean, so we have always known that Liv was totally capable of running that operation, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's not surprising that she can do it. And I mean, Sheriff Mike, he's in like crazy denial, right?
He's totally.
It's because his whole belief system got blown out of the water.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised he's reacting this way, because Mike tends to go over the top with shit.
I mean, this is how he reacted last year to a woman asking him out. Like, his belief system is pretty like insane, because like he had a woman who like didn't fit into his
box.
I mean, Mike is very so he's in total denial, which I guess, look, if I saw an alien, would I get it? He saw.
You automatically say it's an alien? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe
I would be like, finally.
Yeah, I know, but normal people maybe not. But yeah, so he doesn't know what to do. But he did see it. He just doesn't like.
We saw the flashback, right? We saw the flashback.
Yeah, that was a flashback. I forget exactly what their conversation is. I know she's upset about her uniform and
him
for good
reason.
reason.
And responsibility.
Yeah, and he's not. She's trying to get him to admit kind of what he's seen, and he's having issue with it. But yeah, she's doing everything, which is like I agree with you. Like, she totally can do it on her own. She doesn't need him. But I like that he's gonna see that she's doing it too. Like, he can't deny that she's been running the place and taking care of everything, which is good. So
I mean, he can and he will, but
we hope we hope he won't. All right. And then, okay, that's when he talks to Ben. Now, isn't it here like he tells Ben like he just doesn't want to say anything wrong to Liv?
Well, yeah, no, because he's like, he says he's like, doesn't she look great? But you can't tell her she looks great, because that implies she didn't look great before.
Yeah.
They're so afraid to compliment her.
Yeah.
What a couple of doofuses.
They're men. What can you say? But yeah, and then I don't remember what their conversation was. Oh, I think it was about him saying that like he had to pay for therapy or something like that. I don't know that it was.
Oh yeah, he's like, I see you've gone 3 times this week. We only covered 2, so you're gonna have to pay for one of them.
And he basically calls him. I don't know exactly what he calls him, but he basically calls him a dick. But knowing Mike, he probably said that, so he might have called him a dick.
Yeah.
All right. So then we have Bruce, who is
Bruce the Gray.
Bruce, yeah, which I found out through the interview. I didn't realize it. That's Jinx Monsoon's voice from who was in.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't know that until Crystal was up. But yeah, so that is who is playing Bruce, and she wants to go to
Earth.
I was going to say America. She wants to go to Earth. Yeah, I was trying to think of the right word. She wants to go to Earth. And he's telling Harry, and I don't remember his name, so yes, I'm saying he is telling Harry, tell Bruce she'll take him to Earth, and then he can save us, or she can save us. Sorry, I guess it's a female alien. She can save us. At least I think it's supposed to be. But
I was a little frustrated at how dumb Harry was in these scenes. Like Harry
was dumb, but yes,
part of Harry's dumb. Part of Harry's character is being dumb, but he has not always been dumb. He's been kind of smart in some of these alien plans. And for him to not get like, oh, Bruce wants to go to Earth. Can you please make Bruce think we'll take her to Earth? Like, it's a great plan.
Smart and have no common sense. I think there's like a difference.
Yeah, I just think it's convenient for Harry to be dumb.
No, it is.
And
yeah, but he's trying to say, let's take Bruce to let's take Bruce to Earth and
promise that you'll take her to Earth and she'll help us get out of here.
Yeah. So then we have Liv, who is going to see
the alien hunter.
What's his name? Because otherwise I'm going to keep calling him Terry because I'm not going to remember.
Well, his name is the alien. I remember him as the alien hunter. He had that podcast, and she knew.
Yeah, I know, but his character has a name somewhere. I just don't remember what it is.
I don't know.
Pete?
I'll Google it while you talk.
Is it Pete?
Peter.
Yeah, I just said that.
Okay, well, I didn't hear you say it. You said it, Peter. So his legs are disembodied from his body, and she can't figure out how to put him back. But she's been bringing him food even though he has no stomach. These scenes were funny. I love Terry O'Quinn. I hope he's in it more.
For me, that was funny, partly because I have not seen Terry O'Quinn play that level of comedy before. Yeah. And to see him chew up food and spit it out and say, I wish I had a stomach, I was like, oh my God, this is like a Terry O'Quinn that I haven't really seen before.
Yeah, I know, it's funny. He's good in this role. And he does it repeatedly too. And she's just like, yeah, I'm never going to get used to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's been hiking up there to see him and try to help him as best she can. She's trying to figure out how to put him back together. So nice guest starring role there. So
and he'd like to find his son and help his son, right?
Well, he thinks his son's dead, I think, doesn't he? I think
no, he says he wants to find his son.
He says I have to find my son.
Okay, his son thinks he's dead then.
Yeah, his son thinks he's dead.
But everybody probably thinks he's dead.
Yes, that's everybody does.
He kind of is dead, yeah.
Yeah. So then we have this scene with Ben and this woman that his flies open and he really insults her and
that's hilarious.
Yeah,
typical Ben.
Yeah. Typical Ben, yes. And then we go back to Harry and Harry.
Manted Harry.
Not Harry, Manted Harry. And Asta seems to know something's up, but doesn't know what it is, and continues to believe him. And then he is having, Mike is having therapy with Harry, who is not giving him anybody better therapy than he's ever given him since he's been Harry or been the alien in the first place. And I think he was talking to him about not knowing what he saw and about his belief system changing, being shaken. I think, from what I remember, I seen quite a few of them at once when I did the interview, so I'm trying to remember. Do you remember what it? I think that was what it was about. That he didn't know how to, things weren't black and white. I think he made a conversation. Wasn't this where he said something like things are supposed to be black and white?
I don't really recall. It was.
Oh yeah.
Then Harry's like, and I'm the white one, right?
Mike says not everything is about black and white. Sometimes there's there's grays.
Like that.
And Harry starts laughing, and Mike's like, "Why is that funny?" And he's like, "Never mind. I thought you were making a joke."
Yeah, he says something like, "I'm the white one in that scenario" or something. Doesn't he say something like that?
I don't know.
I don't know. It was in screen.
Anyway.
But so Mike and him have that conversation. Then we go to back to Asta. She doesn't want to give up the baby. That's kind of what that conversation.
Asta wants to go with the baby. It's Darcy.
Sorry, Darcy doesn't want to give up the baby. I mean, bonding with it.
Yeah, that baby's very cute. I thought that's where it was going. I really thought this season was going to go to Darcy not being able to give this baby by the end of the season.
Yeah,
I was surprised that they made that move so quickly.
Yeah. So then we get more Bruce, who is going to agrees to take them if they take them to Earth. So they get out. Harry needs to shave. So Ben is sneaking around because he sees Joseph, and he is one of the few people that knows Joseph is an alien, or at least suspects. I guess they don't have proof, but him and Liv know that Joseph is an alien, and his wife now knows, and he's watching him, spying on him. He calls his wife. He's like, he's like, he's here, and then he shouldn't have done that because she comes out, and he got flowers there, and she comes out and attacks him, and he passed off the umbrella, and it wasn't him, and that poor woman has now been accosted by him again. So yeah, she's not too happy. And then let's see. Then we have the two of them, Sahara and Max. I don't remember what the conversation was about. It might have been like you said about her not having.
That was the weapon conversation because he's like, I'm gonna sharpen this stick.
Oh yeah,
I got a stick. Yeah. And then we have Ben, who is meeting with Liv to try to give information and find information about Joseph.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He's got this Nixon, this old sort of Nixon mask on, and it's clearly Ben's voice. I was waiting for Liv to be like, Ben, is that you? Like, she never really.
Well, she knows it's Ben.
I know. She never says
because later on, when she walks past Ben, she's like, Mr. President.
Yeah, and he thinks she doesn't know. He thinks he's all smart.
That is so dopey.
Yeah, it is. So she has her take the baby. That's at the bar. That's just she has her hide the baby when Ben and Kate come in. Okay, now here's the scene with
look how creepy his face is there, Jamie.
Yeah, very awesome. I love this. I got to get the rest of the interviews up. I had asked her about this scene that they played because that is so creepy and so like, I mean, that's not him and Asta, but it is so funny that he
when the Mantid is like, oh, maybe I'll meet with her, maybe she
and he comes on to Asta and she's like got this what the fuck looking.
How does she not know right then that it's not Harry, right? Like,
well, Harry is Harry doesn't always make sense, but yeah, I would think at this point she would know it's not Harry. Harry offers her a cigarette. She's like, you smoke? But yeah, that was really funny. But she's like, nope.
She's like, and it's time to go.
Yeah, I'm not going to stay here and do that. And then I think that's still Mandate Harry. The real Harry doesn't come in. It's Mandate Harry. What am I thinking? Okay. So Max and Sahara come in and they say that's not Harry.
Yeah.
Because Max
can see that it's not Harry. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the real Harry comes in. There's the real Harry with Bridget.
And he says, what do you mean? That's not Harry either.
Yeah, Max does not see him as Harry, so he's a little confused. But he's like,
yeah, I'm confused too.
Yes, you will be. And there's Bridget. I love Bridget. I love when he kicks him across.
He's unable to attack the Mantid. Bridget can't eat the. Yeah. Harry's like, eat him, and Bridget can't eat him.
Yeah. I was gonna say what?
Well, I what is there 10 episodes this season?
Might be 10, yeah.
Well, all I know is I hope the Mantid is the villain throughout the whole season because Clancy Brown does the monologue voice. So.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, yep, yeah. They talked about that too. And I lost my pictures. Where'd they go?
That's right. No, so little Bridget there. So little poor Bridget's not,
not able to go. So they hightail it out of there, and we have Liv, who he got her uniform.
That was so nice. Yeah.
Yes, that was nice. He did get her uniform. And then we have Kate. This is where we see that she's being spied on. Because Darcy, of course, put, security cameras around their house.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing.
Brilliant move by Darcy.
It was actually. It's pretty brilliant. But yeah, she's spying on her and she sees that the Greys are spying on her. So now they know they can't give the baby back.
And she's not even abducted. She's just sitting in her house and they're quizzing her. I don't know. Yes. We don't know what question she's answering, but she's saying things like, yes, I don't know.
Well, we don't know all the questions, but we do know that one of the questions is, where's the baby?
Yeah. And she's like, I don't know. Yeah. So I just noticed there's 9 cameras that Darcy hid. Do you see that?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't quite see it all, but there's 9 cameras that are set up.
Which was nice, like earlier in this episode where like she says like, oh, I went to dinner and I took the opportunity to, and Asta's horrified, but it really is going to pay off.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I love this shot, Jamie. It's so cute.
Yeah, of Las Vegas and Bruce and the bounty hunter's kid are in Vegas. So yeah, I guess we'll have to see how that goes, but I'm sure it's going to be fun. I love Bruce. I like the little aliens. They're funny in this. Dorothy is upset she doesn't have the baby. She's missing the baby. Is kind of the gist of that. And they're, trying to get away from the mantid is the other part of the thing. Asta and the kids, and Harry for that matter. So.
And Harry, before they ran, trying to like alien up, he was like, "Arr!"
Yeah, it did not work.
I mean, so we have seen like all the trailers and the promos for the season were about Harry losing his alien essence and that he's 100% human, and yet he seems to not actually act like a human, right? He still acts like
it's
Harry.
funny because it's it's the 3 seasons before this. That's always been the thing is the more he spends, that's been the ongoing theme is the more time he spends in human form, the less alien he has become.
Yeah. And now he's going to be human. So did you guys like it? Both of you guys liked the episode?
Yeah, it was fun.
I thought it was good.
It was a good start to the season.
Good. Yeah.
Kind of caught us up with everybody.
That they had them find out by the end of the first episode that he wasn't Harry, because I didn't want that.
Yes, I was glad that they got out right away because I did not want that lingering for too many episodes either.
And so Alan Tudyk directed this, right? He directs the first 2?
Yes.
First episodes?
Yeah.
I saw the little thing on sci-fi,
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Watch the interviews. We talked about that too. Yeah, I had asked him about that, and then also about I had asked both of them about balancing, like, how do you make Harry grow more human but still keep him who he is, I'm going to put the Discord link in the chat, guys. I never put it in earlier. I'm putting it in now.
So, all right. Well, anyway, we're back done with this. So
yeah, I think so too.
But
yeah, what do you guys, any predictions for next week? I can't answer that.
On this show?
Yeah.
You guys more hijinks.
More hijinks, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Yeah. I mean, I think that, we also know from the promos that Harry's bird alien girlfriend is coming back. I don't know.
Heather.
Right? Heather's coming back also. So I think he's going to be human for a few weeks at least. Yeah. So I don't know.
Oh, I think it's funny. I like it. And like I said, my main thing is I just didn't want it to be forever, them not knowing it's Harry. So I'm glad that they wrapped that up. That was,
you're right.
It's one thing the show has always done pretty good is it doesn't prolong the storylines. It moves things along at a pretty good pace.
They do move along.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. I think we
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming. Oh, also for anybody who didn't hear my announcement before, the Institute, it starts on the 13th of next month. We will be having watch parties for that when it drops. So make sure you join
our 13th. The 13th, like in 2 days.
The 13th
of July.
Next month.
Oh, July, a whole month away. All right.
Yeah. So if you haven't, make sure you join our Discord for all our schedules of our live streams and our watch parties. But there will be a watch party for that. And then I guess you guys and me are going to be reviewing the show, and I'm probably going to be doing a deep dive with Scarlett at some point. So, so make sure you guys tune into that. It's going to be a good show. For those of you who don't know about it, I think if you like Lost, if you like Lost too, but no, if you like From, you'll probably like it. So make sure you tune in.
It's Jack Bender's involved.
Like it, but it looks like a mystery.
It's not gonna. No, yeah. Don't say if you like From, you're gonna like it, because that's nothing like From.
I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea about.
It's from the mind of Stephen King. So if you like Stephen King,
I'm not sure I do. He scares the shit out of me.
Element. I don't know that it's a puzzle box show, but it looks like it's got some kind of mystery element to it.
All right. Well, in the meantime, that is so far in advance. And in the meantime, on June 12th, in 2 days, is Revival is starting, right?
Yeah.
The day from tomorrow. And so we're going to watch Revival
next week.
You know what I'm really excited for? I'm excited for what's coming in 36 days. Strange New Worlds.
Yes, I'm looking forward to Star Trek Strange New Worlds also.
Yes, I agree, Muncher. The Stephen King adaptations are very hit or miss. We all remember Under the Dome.
Yeah, that was terrible.
But this one, was he part of that one though? Because he's executive producing those too. So
he was involved with it, and then he actually had his name removed from it.
Okay, well, because I think
because
he's
it
involved
was
with
so
this.
bad.
Went sideways.
Um,
Yeah.
We'll see.
And Muncher wants more live streams with us.
Yes.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that will be, so we will be doing that anyway, and we appreciate
there
that.
will be, yeah. When the Institute starts, there will be two.
Yeah,
You'll
we'll be doing a
you'll see at
review
least
show.
you'll see me twice a week at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the three of us
However,
will be doing a review show, and then Scarlett and I on Sunday after it airs will probably be doing some kind of breakdown.
Nobody will be seeing me next week because I can't make next week's Tuesday show.
Okay. That's perfect. I'll be here, but then I'm gone the next week, so we'll cover each other.
Oh, we're taking turns.
Yeah.
And I'm just here all the time, right?
Jamie's locked in a 6x6 room and can't leave.
Jamie doesn't sleep. In the meantime, make sure that you come back and join us Thursday at 11 Eastern for our coverage of the Librarians, the next chapter. And make sure that you and on Sunday is our Dead City show. Monday is Murderbot. We got a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, the first one is Librarians. That's on Thursday.
Not for nothing. Why aren't we talking about Librarians on this show too?
I was going to ask you guys that, but I figured we're
all watching.
I didn't know if we wanted to, but we could totally do that if we want to talk a bit about it.
This last episode with Cupid, I thought was a little weak, but in general, it's fun to watch. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the train episode. I thought the train episode was fun.
No, the train. I like
the train episode was one of my favorites, but
Cupid episode was not as good.
Yeah, there's another one out if you have not seen it.
I know there's a 4th episode out, but I thought that was the next one to premiere.
It was
on Mondays.
It's on my DVR already today, so I watched it. It's
was it? I think it comes out today actually.
No, it comes out on Mondays. It was out yesterday.
Oh, was it on Mondays?
Yeah, it comes out on Mondays. So
great. Anyway, we're all watching it. Maybe we'll
so if you guys want to talk about that, we can. But everybody else, and you guys are welcome to come, obviously, too, and talk about it. But
it's too late on Thursday.
No, that's okay. That discussion is on Thursday nights, so make sure you tune in for that, and make sure that you check out the video tab for all our interviews. Now that I finally got the video editing program I was having issues with fixed, I do have more coming from Murderbot, Librarians, Resident Alien, Better Sister. There's a lot of stuff coming, and Revival. Did I say Revival? I don't know. Revival coming. That'll be up in the next couple of days. Yeah, so lots of interviews.
Just keep checking Sci-Fi-Vision. That's all.
Yeah,
just check it once a day.
Our video tab, and and like I said, the Institute will be next month, and once the embargo's up on that, I'll let you guys know what I think. Hopefully it'll be good. Yep. And so all right, guys.
And listen, if you enjoyed our conversation, please like and subscribe.
Yes, please make sure that you subscribe to Sci-Fi-Vision. We appreciate everybody coming. Thank you to everybody who in the chat. Thank you for coming. I know you guys, Muncher and Justin and Doc, you guys come a lot of the days, and we appreciate it. So thank you for coming, and everybody else who's been here. And we will see you at the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night. Bye.